So, yeah, sure, we're running late, but at least we have a stacked show ahead for you here on a Would You Rather Wednesday.
I got to
edition
start
of
off with some
GCR.
bad news.
Oh, yeah?
Sad news. No,
yeah?
real sad news.
Uh-huh.
Al Miller passed away overnight.
Now tell me how I know Al Miller.
He is the guy that invented the wind chill. He's the guy that came up with the wind chill algorithm. So he died last night at age 86.
Well, that's...
But he felt like he was 75.
There you go. That's Drew Forrester. Good to see you, buddy. I think if I were you, it's just... Why are you still here? This is a good night. Tip your servers.
Oh, my God.
Have a great week.
It's not my fault you're in a bad mood. You got to admit, that was a good one.
You be in a good mood when nothing works. And,
well, it's probably what your wife says.
Hang on a second. Not since I started going to Game Day Men's Health.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now she's kind of sick of it. Now she's like,
let me hear some stories.
She's like,
enough.
Maybe go out on the town.
Enough.
Like,
right.
maybe go,
right.
like, meet a nice college girl.
Right,
And
enough.
I was like,
right.
well, wait.
Right, enough.
That's not what this is about.
2 times this month's enough.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Everybody knows I'm a confirmed 2-time sex haver.
Okay.
You are as well.
All right, correct.
Congratulations.
We're all good.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com is the website, and they are there for you, whatever's going on.
That was a great segue.
It was.
That's what I mean.
Professional.
Right.
Whatever's going on as you get into your 40s as a man, you don't feel quite
Did you get
the
checked
same
for low
way.
T?
I did.
And?
It turns out I'm super T.
Oh, are you?
She comes.
Okay.
They do because they will give you a complimentary testosterone.
You got to get
test.
checked for testosterone if you're over 40.
She goes in, she does the testosterone test, and then she's talking to me about because if you're low T, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what the plan's gonna be. Here's how this would go.
Right.
And she's in the middle of the conversation, and the girl walks in with like a note, and she hands it to her, and she just starts laughing.
Oh, you're good.
She's like, yeah, we're not gonna be doing testosterone treatment for you.
Okay.
And I said, oh, she said, you've got all the T. And I said, well, how about that?
Okay.
That's wonderful news.
Apparently, so did Barry Bonds.
Well, yeah, but I believe my testicles are at normal size, which is a little bit different than what Barry's got going.
Okay,
on. A little bit different.
Well, never.
By the way, this is gonna sound very strange. Barry Bonds, I guess, ex-wife. I was doing my show in Arizona at a car dealership once, and don't ask me the story. Barry Bonds' maybe current wife at the time was there. And the guy that ran the car dealership was, hey, do you want to talk to Barry Bonds' wife? And I was like, about what?
Yeah.
What am I going to talk to her
Your husband's
about?
arm?
Apparently, she was in Playboy, and so, she had a little bit of a budding.
Gee, who'd have thunk that?
Yeah, right? Yeah. So she comes over, she sits down. I still don't know what I'm going to talk to her about. And I say, hey, how you doing? And I swear to God, the first sentence out of her mouth. So do you want to ask me about my husband's balls? And I'm like.
And did you?
Well, I thought it was maybe like
Sure.
a joke, like she wanted to say like, no, he doesn't juice his. Like I thought that was the setup, and I was like, all right, tell me about your husband's balls. And she says, they're the size of peas. I'm like, okay, we're doing this now. Now I'm like worried about getting sued. Right. Now I'm like, where are we gonna go from here?
And then you asked, so then does it help with perspective? Like, does that
I
mean?
didn't really go that route.
Oh yeah.
I don't have that problem, and I don't have a.
But
low
he is the home run king.
He does have that. I don't have a low T problem, and I don't have lots of problems thanks to my friends at Owings Mills Game Day Men's Health. So if you want to get your life going, reclaim your game the way that they say it, I would encourage you to give them a call, 443-264-4454. All right.
Since we're so busy planning a show, can you send me the breaks when you get a chance?
Okay. We don't have a lot of time. I know you've got a lot of important things to do today.
Take this with me because
no,
Knox
you're not.
8 hours.
No, you're
say that
not.
like every other week.
I know we got
How
another
do
one.
you not have a remote back yet?
We do. That one got chewed on.
What?
Knox is insane.
What is going on in the Forrester house? Oh man, you know what? I got another story for you. We got our newest dog.
What?
We've had her since the pandemic, I think, is when we got her. Right?
Oh, okay. Well, it's not new. Hell, the pandemic was 5 years ago.
I understand. I said newest. I didn't say new.
Okay.
I said newest.
You want another one?
No. Not right now.
We took Knox to get his haircut
apparently
yesterday.
we're getting guinea pigs in our house.
We took Knox over here to get his haircut yesterday.
Yeah.
They called 45 minutes later.
They said we got
come pick him up.
Got to get him out of here.
And here's the best part.
Yeah.
They shaved his body. Couldn't get to his head or his feet. So he looks like a lion.
Got a picture?
I don't.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
I don't. I should have taken one.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I would like to see
and
that.
the girl's like, I'm not even charging you.
Right.
And I said,
it's probably for the best.
I said, I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I feel terrible, but I feel good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm leaving and I don't have to pay you.
Yeah, right.
So I
That's
gave her
kind of
$20, and she's like,
kind of a
thank
win.
you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what happened just now. But
right.
I'm taking my dog out to the parking lot.
All right. Hang on a
Anyway.
second. So we get this dog, and this dog, you know how dogs like licking the salt on your skin?
Sure.
Right? Well, this dog particularly liked licking it when maybe Mrs. Clark and I were spending some time together.
What on earth?
Yeah. This dog,
You guys weird?
this dog
What's wrong with you?
would start licking my leg and move towards, right? Like my butt.
Hey, whatever
right?
you guys are
No,
into.
chill.
Seriously, whatever you guys are into.
We would
this
have
is not the time to
settle
confess
down.
it.
Settle down. So I have a friend. She happens to be a dog
Oh, my
trainer.
Lord.
Calm down.
Okay.
Jesus. So I call my friend. I say, hey, Mandy, got a bit of an issue.
Can you come over?
She said,
She's a dog trainer.
she's a dog trainer.
Okay.
I said, dog sometimes tries to lick my butt. And she said back,
She said, congratulations.
she said, well, you could put like some different types of salts on your butt. And I said, you are solving the wrong end of this problem. This is not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is not what I'm doing.
It's at the wrong
the
time.
Issue at hand, right, correct.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm watching TV, it's
correct.
a totally different
it's a
story.
Tuesday morning. And then I
Right.
said, and I don't want it to be that no one licks my butt. I just
Right.
want it to be the dog doesn't lick my butt.
And then she said, go ahead and just ask me what you want to really ask me. And you're like, no, I can't do that.
Can't do that. Can't do
Margaret
that.
won't like it.
Not going to happen. I said, why don't we work on the dog's problem? I think my situation isn't the problem here. She said, oh, I guess we can work on that.
Man,
instead.
you wacky 40-year-old.
Yeah, that's exactly that's exactly what's going on over there.
Man, you guys are so weird.
That's exactly what the problem is. All right, you of course will be on live during the fourth round of the U.S. Open on Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Yep,
You're
there'll
gonna
be a show 4 to 6.
keeping everybody updated on
Yep.
what's happening at the U.S. Open.
Yep.
It's a big week for a golf show, obviously.
Yep.
To be on live during the U.S. Open, giving everybody hole-to-hole updates.
Show will be
and-
there 4 to 6. We're
who's
not
gonna-
allowed to do that.
What do you mean you're not allowed to do that?
Not allowed.
Well, that's never stopped you before.
No, but now we got a cease and desist. So
Oh.
now I can't do that.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
That seems
So Sunday will
that
be
seems kind of odd.
special
honestly.
show.
Oh, it's gonna be a special show.
Dude, I'm going to be at Oakmont.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm going to Oakmont.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
When are you going?
Saturday.
Going
Leaving
both
Saturday.
days or?
No, just going Sunday.
Okay.
Yep. Going up Saturday, driving up here Saturday, going Sunday. Going to be great. And the weather, let me recheck, but man, it looks perfect. It's 76 and rain,
Ooh.
which is perfect for watching golf.
Is it?
Yes.
Why is that perfect?
Because you don't want to be there.
Well, I agree that you don't want 100 degrees.
Yeah, you
That's
don't-
what it was
right.
at the Caves the last time.
You
I went
do
on
not-
Saturday of the BMW the last time, and it was 6,000 degrees
Yeah,
outside.
you don't want to be there for that, particularly at this golf course where there are no trees,
Ah.
no place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. Now it's
Well, you
just,
typically bring your
now
own.
it's just sort of showers and 75.
You usually bring your own trees, don't you?
No,
And you just
you can't take those in.
since when?
Well, no,
You're clear-
actually now
You're
yeah,
clearly not trying
you
harder.
can probably
no.
buy it there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What are you talking about?
Now it's just 75 and like goes, but it's not going to be a scorcher. That's
All right,
the good news.
So when you're on live on Sunday from 4 to 6.
Okay, who's going to win?
Yeah.
You know who's going to win.
Who's gonna win?
Come on, man. That's the same guy that's been winning.
Chichi Rodriguez. Very good.
Nah, Scheffler's going to win. I don't see any way he doesn't win. I mean, if he,
But wasn't the U.S. Open always the one that like was just goofy?
well, he's only played. Yeah, but if it's tailor made for exactly what he does best.
Okay.
So I mean, unless he doesn't do that, I mean, this is a. You got to bomb it, he bombs it. You got to hit it straight, he hits it straight. You got to hit your irons great into the greens, he hits his irons great. He isn't a great putter, but he is. His ranking is actually pretty good this year, but he's more than competent, and he has tournaments where he putts great for 2 days, and that separates him from the field. He's going to win. Something wacky could happen. I mean, sure, the field will be a good wager. Something wacky.
Now, what
could
if
happen.
he gets arrested on his way?
Yeah, right.
in?
He probably
Like,
still
what
win.
if?
He'll probably still win.
Okay.
But I do like him. I think if you go back and look at the history of this particular piece of property, Ernie Els, first-time major winner, he won in '94. Cabrera, first-time major winner, he won in 07. DJ, first-time major winner, he won in 16. I could see that. I'm probably missing one too. Was Johnny Miller a first-time major winner when he won? He probably was. I could see that still playing out. I might have said Ernie Els in 97. It was 94. I could still see that playing out.
Embarrassing that you didn't know that.
And I could see a guy like Patrick Cantlay winning, or Straka or Harris English, one of those guys. They're all in my top 8. But Scheffler is a very, very clear favorite.
No, I get that.
I mean, the Secretariat came back.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah. Right. Like, I understand why he'd be the favorite going in.
So.
But is this
going to hope he wins. If he wins, it would add some incredible drama.
It's been a while since there's been the old school U.S. Open where, like, you win at even par. You win at...
I think even par would... I think if you said to any of those guys who have played the first 2 days practice round, would you take even par right now and not play?
So you think it's going to be that kind of U.S. Open?
Oh, 2 over will win. Something in the even to... The 4-shot swing of 2 over to even to 2 under if somebody plays out of their minds.
So why
even par is going to be the score?
That was always kind of the thing that separated the U.S. Open. Was like it was the you versus the course thing. Unlike the other, some of the others where it's you versus the other golfers.
Right.
Why has it not been like that in the last?
Well, they relaxed
it
a little bit after that fiasco of Winged Foot in. Whenever that was. When did Ogilvy win the U.S. Open at Winged Foot?
It's going back a ways.
Yeah. 06? Yeah, 06, because 07 was Cabrera. So they started to relax it a little bit. Now, the next year also, it was 5. I think Cabrera was 5 over when he won. Those 2 years back-to-back. Ogilvy won it at 6. And then the next year, Cabrera won it at 5 over. They started to get a little bit. I think they got some grief from the players quietly, or maybe even not quietly. But they started to get some grief from the players. They never wanted it to be like that, like 6 to 7 to 8 over. But they also didn't want it to be 15 under like it was the year when freaking what's his name tore apart Aaron Hills, Koepka. So they got to try to figure out a way to make it challenging. And all that's happened over the last 10 years, really since 2015 or so, all that's happened is these guys are just hitting it so much further, I guess it would be. They're hitting it so much further that you have to do something to make it more difficult. And you don't want to make it so that 5 over a day is a good score or 4 over a day, but they got to do something to separate the golf tournament from the Greater Hartford Open.
Right.
So you got to grow the rough. For these players today, there almost is no distance off the tee that would scare them. You could make this golf course 8,000 yards. It wouldn't scare them. What scares them is when they hit it in the rough and they can't get it out. What scares them are really, really fast greens with some tricky pin locations where they get embarrassed and 3-putt 4 or 5 times. That's what scares them. Mm-hmm. Length off the tee does not scare these guys. So that's what they've done. They've grown the rough to 5 inches. They've made the greens bigger at this particular course anyway. They've redone the greens, made them bigger, which gives them the advantage of putting some pins in some nuanced spots. And it's going to play tough, for sure.
All right.
And the good news is if it does rain a little,
that probably softens.
That would help.
Yeah.
That would help it. That would help some scoring. I don't think the players care all that much about the scoring, honestly. They just want to have the lowest score. If it's really, really hard, it's really hard for everyone.
Does it mean any less if you win the U.S. Open at 2 over par versus winning it at 4 under par?
Not at all. Because if it's 4 or 5 over as the winning score, it just everybody was 4 or 5 over.
Correct.
Right? So
yeah.
But I think the storyline of the whole week is going to be the golf course for sure. If it could bear its teeth, this could be one of those historic, 72 every day winds up winning 8 over, especially Saturday and Sunday. Now, if this rain that they're calling for comes in Saturday and Sunday, then that might soften it up for them. But if it softens it up, it also means that their tee shots aren't going as far. So there is a give and take to that.
All right. Well, we done that. Now, we got to get to the important
Scotty
stuff.
Scheffler.
We got to get to the important stuff on the show. I don't know where we're starting. I don't know what's coming first, but it's a Wednesday, so that means it's time for Drew to tell us what's happening in sports. Glad we're prepared.
Here we go.
It's time for Hanging on the Rim. Hanging on the Rim is brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, which returns this fall to Fair Hill up in Cecil County. The triple crown of equestrian plus all of the great events that surround it, like the Corgi Cup and the Food and Wine Festival. You can get your tickets right now. They're on sale. Maryland5star.us with the number 5, Maryland5star.us. Drew Forrester.
NBA, right?
Yes, correct. That's why we would play Sweet Georgia Brown.
Well, they're playing the finals.
Yes, they are. Who's playing in the finals?
Oklahoma City and Indiana.
Look at you. You can't get anything past this guy.
Nope. And the Pacers are in a great spot, up 2-0 heading home.
They are not. They are not.
They're
Close.
not.
Close.
They're
Close.
not up 2-0?
Close. They did win one. Yeah.
I thought they won the second one.
They did not.
They lost?
They did.
Oh, I thought it was 123-107 Indiana.
No.
It was 123-107 Oklahoma.
Hey, man, you're sniffing around.
Well, I got the score right.
Right.
I know the overhit.
So it's 1-1. But Indiana does now have home ice.
Right. Goes back to Indiana. And do they do the goofy 2-3-2 thing?
They do for the finals.
Okay. So they're
just too far apart from each other.
Yeah. So I'm still sticking with what I said before.
You're still riding with Indiana.
I am.
Did you get your bet in?
No, I don't bet on sports.
Well,
I've seen enough of it.
Yeah. Not in the last 5 minutes.
I've seen enough
of
it to know if Otani would have
in a home run last night. Screwed up because if you had gotten it in before the finals, you would have gotten minus 750. Now I think it's only down to you would have gotten plus 520 on the Pacers.
Can I do my segment?
Halliburton's still plus 750 though.
You guys mind?
MVP.
By all means.
Do my segment.
By all means.
Yeah, all right. So there's another game coming up.
Mom, I'm doing my segment.
There's another game coming up soon, Game 3, and it will feature Indiana versus Oklahoma City.
Now wait a second.
Those are the two teams?
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. So
it's weird they do
it's
it
been
that
a great series so far.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, the way I see it, if you're looking for some analysis,
that's why we do Hanging on the Rim.
I think Oklahoma City could pull this thing out.
You think?
But I tell you what, Indiana's.
It could also be
Indiana.
Well, what's happened when those teams got together this year?
It's been either one could win.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, they got that guard.
They got They got those guys.
Now this year
I tell you what they do. They shoot well, both teams.
Right.
And when there's a rebound to be had, they get it.
Here we go. There's a former Maryland player that plays for Oklahoma City.
Boy.
Yeah.
It's not Kevin Huerter.
It's not Kevin Huerter. He plays in Chicago. Who am I telling? You know that. You're hanging on the rim.
I don't know if you just heard. I said it's not Kevin Huerter.
You know what?
I didn't say it's not Kevin Huerter with a question mark.
And that's correct.
I said.
All right, let's move on.
It's not Kevin Huerter.
It's
not Juan Dixon.
He's 2 for 2. He's 2 for 2. Give you another. Go ahead.
It's not Diamond Stone.
There we go. Now moving on. It's time for.
I'm very aggravated.
Oh.
Why is that?
Well, just this fraudulent Edmonton performance on Monday night.
Oh boy,
just gutless.
How much you lose on that one?
Just a gutless.
How much did you lose on it?
Don't
What are
worry
you talking
about
gutless?
it.
They threw hands at the end.
200.
How much? Oh my.
Just a gutless performance, and they're playing again soon as well, and they need to get this thing righted. This is a joke.
It's time for
when
shaved
you lose
ice.
to Brad Marchand. He's got
a couple rings.
You're in big trouble.
To everybody.
I told you Bob was going to be the MVP of this thing. It's all said and done.
It's true. You did say that.
Well, I said if Florida wins.
All right. What do you want to say about the finals?
Just this is it. I mean, this Game 4 is
Sam Bennett's got the best odds.
Probably going to be the one. This is going to be the one that decides it.
Well,
right?
Yeah. There's obviously no way that Edmonton could ever win 3 straight games in a finals against Florida. That could never happen.
They did last year, but they wouldn't do it. But they wouldn't do it this year. If they go down 3-1, it's say goodnight.
Okay.
They're not coming back from that. This is terrible. This performance the other night, it almost looks suspicious. That's how bad it was.
Really?
That's how bad it was. It was awful.
1-800-GAMBLER or helpmygamblingproblem.org.
It was awful.
Free confidential services.
Heartless.
You gonna be all right, bud? Are you gonna be
terrible.
okay?
I mean, nobody wants to see Florida win again.
Buddy.
No one wants to see it.
It's okay.
No one wants to see Kachuk. skate around with the trophy again.
I just think maybe you are spending money you don't have to lose. I'm just a little bit worried.
That's true, but it's got nothing to do with this.
I'm just a little concerned that's what's going on here.
Just gutless
is
performance.
That you don't have the money that you're
TJ Oshie retired.
That's true. TJ Oshie announced his retirement. Was that on Monday or Tuesday? Monday.
That's he was never coming back, but
yeah. I mean, he hadn't played in a while, right? Yeah, what's going on?
He missed all last year.
Yeah. So this is sort of like another retirement.
He's a little bit of an imposter.
Oh.
I always thought he was a nice regular season player who conveniently disappeared in the postseason.
Wow.
Look up his stats.
By the way,
tell me if I'm wrong.
It's Captain America you're talking about, so maybe show a little respect.
Look up his stats and tell me if I'm wrong.
That man, I think, is still somewhere right now taking
shootouts.
Yeah, correct.
He was just
what
never
a
great.
What a goofy rule that is in the Olympics. They're like the same guy just keeps taking it.
At a plus-minus of -12 in his playoff career.
Sucks.
He was just never a great playoff player.
You should tell him. Is he a Hall of Famer?
How many career goals he finished with? 350?
Let's see.
Captivating.
Well,
captivating.
What did he play in 9 years? 330, 250? Yeah, 350.
All right.
Oshie, 302.
Okay, yeah, no.
695 points.
And the answer to that's no. But frankly, not even close. He might be in the, if there is such a thing as the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, which is a bastardized version of the real Hockey Hall of Fame.
I don't even know if that thing exists.
This is like putting Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame. No.
He's in.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be. I could see Oshie. I could see Oshie going into something, a watered-down version, but he is not an NHL Hall of Famer.
Save that just in case it ever happens. Just isolate that audio.
I don't see that happen.
Just in case it ever occurs.
Yeah, 300 goals. Ovechkin had 302 years.
Now, hit the tennis music.
What is our tennis?
Hit the tennis music. Hit the tennis music.
I don't think I have.
You're still playing the hockey music. Hit the tennis music, Griffin.
I don't think we have any.
For God's sakes, hit the tennis music.
Tennis.
Time
for what we call fuzzy balls.
It's time.
No. Balls hit the net.
It's time for little fuzzy balls.
Okay, I was going to say balls hit the net.
No, it's time for little fuzzy balls with Drew Forrester.
All right,
go ahead. We need where's the tennis music? For God's sake,
we don't have any.
What this is? What you're the producer of the show now?
But we don't.
Might be.
I mean, you're awfully hard on these.
Are you available?
$44,000 a year.
Are you available?
To do what?
To produce the show?
No.
Oh, okay. You got any recommendations?
French Open, Coco was your winner.
Yes.
On the women's side.
Correct. That was her blank career Grand Slam title.
Well, it was her first French Open. That was her.
Is this right?
What is this?
Apparently, this is the Wimbledon thing.
No, it's
the BBC Wimbledon.
Fritos music. I want to say
like
that's
the
her
Ed Sullivan theme.
Third?
It's not right.
Is that her third?
It is not her third. It's
second?
Her second.
Okay.
Yes, it is her second.
I knew she won at least one other one.
She won the U.S. Open a couple years ago.
Oh, that was a fluke. Coco Gauff, your winner of the French Open over at Roland Garros.
She, of course, defeated.
She defeated, Sabalenka.
Hey, look at this guy. You can't get anything past him.
Trust me, I was watching.
Yeah?
Sabalenka, at least. So Coco Gauff, your winner.
Big unibrow guy.
And then on the other side, absolute, I don't even know. You're more of a tennis goof than I am. Maybe Connors Krickstein, and that wasn't the final. People forget that. It's like the U.S. hockey beating Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks Connors Krickstein was the final. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Connors played Courier in the final.
That's correct, and smoked it.
Maybe other than Connors Krickstein, this was the best tennis match I've ever seen. Now, I know there's some Federer five-setters along the way.
The Federer and Nadal Wimbledon
Federer and Nadal, right.
This kind of.
But this the other day was the only negative about it was Sinner gave up in the fifth set tiebreaker.
Oh, in the tiebreaker.
He just quit. He quit.
Maybe.
It's called like it is.
Maybe.
That was the only negative. Is the fifth set tiebreaker had zero drama because Alcaraz breezed through it. But that was unbelievable tennis. Unbelievable. It was like it was a movie.
It really was.
It was incredible.
It was that good, man. It was that good. And for Carlos Alcaraz, that is his
sixth?
Fifth. Very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
I follow tennis.
Do you?
I do.
Since when?
Well, more than you. Calmer than you are.
Is that true?
Yeah. Calmer than you are. But it was It was spectacular.
Now, you're the analyst here. So how do you think this affects Jannik Sinner moving forward?
He's probably going to turn to cocaine.
Ah!
Oh, no, that's right. He already did.
No. Anything else?
No, he was getting massaged or something.
Yes.
Lots of us get massaged and then test positive for cocaine.
It happens. It happens.
I love it.
Sometimes you kiss a girl and you test positive for
didn't
cocaine.
Katy Perry say that? She kissed a girl, she liked it?
She kissed a girl. I don't know if she tested positive for cocaine or not. I'm not sure if that was related.
But what's it going to do to him?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing.
Probably not, yeah.
Although I would
be
say this. I don't know
final.
enough about, I know how the golf rankings are calculated, and I know 1,000,000%. It isn't even remotely questionable. Scotty Scheffler is the best golfer in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think Sinner is better than Alcaraz.
He had been. Absolutely. Unquestionably, he had been. There's no
I don't
debate
even think
about
he's
that.
better than Djokovic.
Well, Djokovic might not be in the top 5. Legitimately. He's at the end.
He's 50.
I understand.
And still beating these fools.
Some of them. He beat some of them.
Who did he lose to in the semis?
Sinner.
Sinner?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying
He
attention.
got smoked.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was always going to get smoked. I mean, he's not that level of player anymore.
Why?
Because he's 50 years old. You've got the answer.
But what is the problem? How did he lose?
Because he's not as good as them anymore. I don't know what you're...
But why? What's he missing now that he had 4 years ago? Speed?
Certainly speed is part of it.
Okay.
But I would...
That's all you got to say.
You want
Stop getting mad.
Wait.
We're talking sports.
Let's have you want to have a legitimate conversation.
Yeah.
About
why is he not as good at 38 as he was at 36?
What made Djokovic stand out was his pliability.
Djokovic.
He was wiry.
Love how you pronounce it.
Yeah, thank you. He was wiry. He could get to balls that other players couldn't get to without putting himself out of position.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to keep that pliability when you're this deep into your 30s.
What's he got, the freshman 15 or something?
That's exactly what it is. It's the freshman 15. No, he needs to go to Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills. Obviously, that's what he needs to do, but it's just the way that it works. You can't defeat...
He is 38.
Yes, you can't defeat science like this. It's a miracle that he's as good as he is, but he's not beating Djokovic. He's not beating Sinner and Alcaraz.
Okay, so they're 1 and 2. Who's 3? Him?
Don't know.
Well, who would it be?
Probably not Djokovic. Probably not. Musetti, who also made the semifinals, is right in that conversation.
When are we ever going to have another good American player?
Well, this is probably as good as it's been. And an American made, I don't know if you remember this, the American made a Grand Slam final last year.
Who was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Pat Cash?
I know.
He's from Australia.
This is why you're the host of Little Fuzzy Balls.
Who
it was
was
not Tommy Paul.
Who was it?
Wait, don't tell me. It wasn't Sam Query.
It wasn't.
Watch yourself. Who was it?
Francis Tiafoe.
Not allowed to say that anymore.
Wasn't Francis Tiafoe.
I don't even know.
This is not a great sign for American tennis.
Are you sure this happened last year? Because we would know.
Andy Murray
Oh,
in the final.
I got it. it. Mike Smith.
Not Mike Smith. Not Mike Smith.
The only blessing to that horse race Saturday is that creep didn't win.
There you go. I know you're still. Was he is he 70 years old or something?
Speaking of horse racing, or speaking of
that was imprve. That was
oh my gosh, what
impressive.
a great race!
Yeah, good thing. You
think they have that? Is that the right number? I always get agitated when it goes from 21 to 10 at the Preakness, but is 8 the right number for that race?
I don't know what that means.
10.
Yeah, you would like
8 to 10.
You would like it to be 10. You really would. You'd like it to be 10, but who cares?
It's very clear.
Nobody was beating that.
It's very clear that there are too many horses in the Derby, right?
Correct.
I mean, we would all agree on that.
Yes.
And that it potentially costs.
Yeah, somebody could get caught up in the bunch, and yes, 100%.
Oh, who was the one? Oh man, who was it? Oh my gosh. Anyway, there was a horse that won the Preakness and the Belmont in the 90s. Who shoulda, coulda, woulda won the Derby, and back when the Triple Crown mattered, and got. I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember. You're asking for things that happened way too long ago.
Now you got me searching.
Moral of the story is that Taylor Fritz made the U.S. Open final last year and lost to Jannik Sinner.
Yeah, and that's after charging $4,000 for a ticket.
How do you? Did you try to go to the U.S. Open final last year?
He got confused with the golf U.S. Open.
Oh, Taylor Swift. I see what he was doing there. My fault.
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
My fault. It took me a second. And it's on me. I got it still before they did, but I at least got it.
Well, they're 16 years old.
But that they should know what's going on with Taylor Swift.
Do we? Should we?
Yeah, I mean, she's very popular. I'm not sure if you've heard, Jack. She's very popular.
Should be.
All right. Because I know you're going to have to go. I understand.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm trying to see what the name of the source was. It's driving me crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get right on that. Have you heard about? I know I know you're not much of a sports bettor yourself.
Okay.
I know that about
you.
That it just doesn't interest you, right? That's what you said.
I think it was Tabasco Cat.
All right. Good to have you here. Good to have you here.
Hold on.
Tabasco Cat.
I told you.
Appreciate you stopping by today.
Did Tabasco Cat win them both?
I don't. Would you settle down? Anyway, it's going to come.
So
up
it was Tabasco Cat. So
okay.
Tabasco Cat in the Derby got squeezed. The proverbial bad trip. Mm-hmm. Tabasco Cat would have won all three of them.
Bill Walton had a few of those.
Yeah, bad trips.
A couple of bad trips.
So did the guy from Maroon 5.
Are we doing Would You Rather Wednesday, or do you have to?
Yeah, let's do it because I got to go. I got to go in 5 minutes.
All right. Would You Rather Wednesday. We're going to get scenarios up. They're not up yet, but they'll be up shortly at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio.
Mike Smith did.
Number one, would you rather the Orioles are going to give one of these pending free agents a reasonable 3-year deal before the trade deadline in order to keep them around? Would you rather it be Cedric Mullins or Tomoyuki Sagano?
Multi-year deal?
Yeah. It said 3, in fact.
I don't know. Probably the pitcher. Only because I feel like we're just jammed out there with where are we going to put the Bradford kid or Bradfield or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, where are you going to put Bradford?
Where are we putting those guys? I'm not anti-Cedric Mullins, but let's just...
You couldn't possibly take Heston Kjerstad out of right field. That would be terrible. What would you do if you had to take Heston Kjerstad out of right field?
I mean, it's unbelievable how bad he's been. I've never seen anything like it.
It's one of those things where you wonder if he can baseball.
I know the dude is good from the A's, but that at bat the other night in the 8th inning, I had a tear in my eye for him.
It looked like someone who had no.
It honestly looked like they said
it's 100. Just go up. It's like what they used to. It
looked like they said, "Hey, A's fans, tonight at the top of the 8th." Tonight, in the top of the 8th inning, one of you is going to get to face Mason Miller. Come to section 24 now and fill out your form, and we're going to draw it in the 7th. Hey, Bob Smith, you're the winner.
I was trying to have a conversation.
It was unbelievable.
Jake is a lacrosse guy. He's not a baseball guy, right?
Right. Yeah,
so the other day,
by his hat.
The other day, he was asking me about this phenomenon of pitchers hitting. Like, it sounds crazy to him.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, you get to a point in games where you're like running. You don't have a choice. The relief pitcher who's never hit all season, you're in the 15th inning. They've got to hit.
All right.
And all they're doing is just going up. They're just going up there and
bat on their shoulder and just swinging.
Whatever. They let's get it over with.
And
if you want to know what that was like, then watch Heston Kjerstad's at bat against Mason Miller.
And I almost would say I almost want to call Mason Miller out a little bit. Just a little.
Why?
I don't have time to do it today.
What do you want to call him out for?
Because it was obscene. It was a joke.
You think he was being
the
cruel?
First slider he threw when Kjerstad swung at it? There was no. I don't even know if he swung at the first one.
Really?
Yeah, I think he did too.
Through all three of them, I thought. I could be wrong.
The first one was so obvious that this isn't a major league hitter. You had no business doing that to him 2 more times.
Right. Just lob it over.
Just throw a fastball.
Yeah.
You single-handedly got him sent to the minors. I hope you're happy.
I think maybe
because there's no way when the game ended, there is no possible. I've been watching the Red Sox thing on Netflix. Have you seen that?
No.
Why would
I'm going to pass on watching the Netflix Red Sox.
You're
thing.
insane.
No, I'm not.
It is unbelievable. It is.
Kjerstad swung and missed at all 3 pitches.
It's one of the best series I've ever seen on Netflix.
None were in the zone.
And they were talking about.
Well, you clearly haven't watched Orgasm Inc.
Yeah, right. They were talking about. The Pedro Martinez 120 pitch. Grady Little left him in, and they said to Theo Epstein, "What were you thinking in the 8th inning there?" And Grady and Epstein said, "What the f are you doing?" I kind of felt like that the other night when Miller was pitching. Like, Miller had to be saying to himself, like, what am I supposed to do with this guy?
Right. It's poor guy.
I'm not going to let him get a hit off of me.
Guy.
Anyway, go ahead. I got
So you're going Sagano.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I'm going to go Sagano.
Would you rather the Ravens do make one more veteran addition, bringing in recent release Packers cornerback Jaire Alexander, or they bring back edge rusher Zadarius Smith?
No. He quit on us once before. He can go.
I don't think he quit. I'm pretty sure he signed elsewhere in free agency is the way that it worked.
Right. He quit.
I don't think that's how it works. He actually plays.
Yeah, but he quit on the team.
Right, I understand. But, he's the one that's on the field.
No, I'll take the other guy.
How many games has Jaire Alexander missed over the last 2 seasons?
Oh, my gosh. 22?
20, yes. 20 games over the last 2 seasons.
Right.
Sign you up for that?
No, I don't want either one of them.
It's not how
I don't want the guy that quit.
You keep saying quit. Do you know what quit means?
Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. Which is what I'm doing right now. I got to leave.
This one's the one for you.
All right, go ahead.
This is for you.
All right.
Have you heard about this gentleman? Made a $13 parlay bet.
Okay, $13 parlay bet. Okay, I'm interested so far.
That parlay bet was
all right.
that the following teams would win their respective sports league championships. The New York Liberty at plus 190.
I have no idea who they are.
Good odds.
Yeah.
What is that?
Don't
MLS?
Correct. Don't do the bid.
Plus
MLS. 190, check.
Okay.
Los Angeles Doyers, plus 300, check.
Okay.
So these are ones already hit. This is last.
Philadelphia Eagles,
wow,
plus 1,700.
Cash out now.
Check.
Okay.
2 legs are left.
Okay.
The Oklahoma City Thunder,
gotcha.
Got it plus 850, and the Edmonton Oilers, who he got at plus 850.
Okay. 13 to win.
If
90,000.
No, you keep going.
$1 million?
Not a million.
800,000.
No, $270,000.
Wow.
Okay.
So, would you rather?
Hedge.
You're this fella. You have 2 options.
Okay.
You can take a $90,000 cash out, or ride it out.
I can't even. As of today, I can't even believe you're asking that. If you don't cash it out, you're a moron. Anything could happen. Durant could get hurt for Oklahoma City,
right?
And they're done.
Think about that, yeah. What if Durant got hurt?
Right.
Then they screwed.
No, cash it out. 90.
But you come this far.
No,
you're this.
Don't be dopey.
Far.
Don't do it. 90 grand, cash it out. Thank you very much.
You're 6 wins away from $270,000.
90,000. Thank you very much.
What's the number? What's the number at which? Because I haven't posted it yet to Facebook, so I might change the number. What's the number? What would the cash out number be that would make you say, no, I'm not doing
Honestly,
that?
What would the cash out number have to be?
Yeah.
Or the minimum you're saying?
Yeah.
$15.
No, no.
I paid $13 for the ticket.
I would have to really strongly consider it at $30,000.
$30,000.
I would have to really strongly consider it at 30 grand. Now I know they're going to tax me on that. I got to think that through a little, but at 30, you got my attention. For sure.
You're this close.
No, I don't care.
You could be leaving
I'm this close to
$240,000.
I'll take that 30 grand and I'll go buy a car with it or something.
I don't think you can really get a car for 30 grand anymore. I don't think it works that way.
You just got to go to the right place.
Oh, know a guy?
Nah,
can get you a
player down off of Edison Road.
Oh, yeah?
Get him for 12 grand cash.
That's the way it worked. So you'd cash out?
I would.
All right. I'm going to move the number to 50 grand. That's what I'm going to do.
And then I'll see you next Wednesday. God bless you guys.
All right. That's Drew Forrester again, live Sunday, 4 to 6. Updates from the U.S. Open.
I'll be there.
He's doing the show live from the U.S. Open on Sunday to get you caught up on what's happening with Sahith Theegala or whatever.
Neck injury.
It's a shame. I guess I'm not winning $270,000. Guess I'm going to have to come up with a different parlay bet then. That's the way that it's going to go. All right. We will discuss what happened in the baseball game last night because apparently we're supposed to. We'll do that when we come back in. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCRs. Continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. I promise I'll get the scenarios posted so that you guys can get in and respond to them. A lot going on. A lot going on this morning, and we will get that taken care of. What wasn't going on was an Orioles victory. Yeah, it would have been nice if ball 4 to Ryan O'Hearn had been called ball 4, and you want to butterfly effect it and suggest that that means that Jordan Westberg, the home run that he hit in the 9th inning, would have then been a go-ahead grand slam. You can butterfly effect it if you'd like. It doesn't actually work that way, but still would have been nice if ball 4 was called in that spot. The frustration, I guess, at the moment is that Ryan O'Hearn's struggles continue, and I don't want to overreact to them because Ryan O'Hearn has been the Orioles' best player on the whole this season, but it's now kind of prolonged. It's basically since June has started that Ryan O'Hearn has kind of gone back to being a pumpkin a little bit. Cade Povich stunk. A lot of conversation after the game last night about perhaps that being Cade Povich's last start and Trevor Rogers moving into the rotation. I saw a few people, including our buddy Paul Valley, suggest that Cade Povich should go to the bullpen because he tends to be fairly effective the first time through an order. I guess what I would say is I could listen to that. I don't think the Orioles would. I think the Orioles, again, the reports were that the Orioles weren't willing to include Cade Povich in trade talks about Michael King this offseason. And you don't typically remember how long it took for the Orioles to even consider the idea of DL Hall as a reliever. And I just, when you don't have a lot of pitching prospects, giving up on one as a starter
feels kind of,
it's a tough thing to do, man. That's a really difficult path to go down. to just say, well, this guy's a reliever now. Because in the micro, it's always easy to say, well, he could be more helpful to your team at the moment. But in the macro, now what do you have? If you're saying Cade Povich isn't a starter, what do you have? And look, it's not that binary. It could always be that Cade Povich, you go back and try to reset as a starter next year, or something. If you have a couple injuries, he could go back into the rotation later on this year. It's just that right now he's not helping as a start. It's a tough thing to do. There are bigger ramifications for an organization than just this might be the best way that someone can help a team. If the Orioles were competitive and good, I kind of wouldn't care about those ramifications. I would join you. I would say, yeah, if he can help you this way, that's what he does, because it's about winning games. It's harder for me to make that argument given where the Orioles are at the moment. The macro is probably more important than the micro for this team. And
what if he becomes Zach Britton, though, in the bullpen?
Awesome. I'd love that. But at the moment, there aren't other prospects coming. Like, they'll give Chase McDermott another shot here at some point, but who among us believes that Chase McDermott is an answer in the rotation? Brandon Young, they just don't have them. They're not there. So, do I think that Cade Povich is ultimately going to be a mid to top level, top part of the rotation starter? I don't think there's a chance in hell. I think it's a very small chance. But I also acknowledge it's difficult for an organization to commit to that when these are the pitchers they've got. I do think at this point, Trevor Rogers can take Cade Povich's spot in the rotation, and Cade Povich can go back down. I think you got a prolonged look at Cade Povich, and there were moments where he looked like he could be a pitcher, but that's about what you got. And if you get to the end of the year, and this is the eternal problem. The problem for me is that, you're penciling guys, any plan that involved Dean Kramer had to be a part of it. Well, he's here, so he's got to be a part of it, was a bad plan. That's how bad the pitching situation was for the Orioles. They needed to flood the market, or flood the zone with starting pitchers. We can be mad about Charlie Morton, but in a real offseason, they would have gotten Charlie Morton and Tomo Sagano and Corbin Burns and Nick Pivetta. They needed lots. Because even if Trevor Rogers can work out, if he returns to the rotation, it doesn't suddenly make me say, boy, the rotation's it's in great shape. But I don't need to see more of Cade Povich at this moment. It is a fine line between, well, hey, if the season doesn't matter, then why don't you just let him keep working it out at the major league level? That's the conversation that we'll have at some point, but we're not quite there yet. And so I would be inclined to go ahead and move him out and let Trevor Rogers get back into the rotation. And, I'm not going to overreact to the one Trevor Rogers really good start and say, boy, Trevor Rogers is the answer. But Cade Povich isn't the answer. So that's where I'm at. Good to see Jordan Westburg back. Obviously did hit the home run in the 9th inning. Didn't really matter at that point, but still, nice to see it. Appreciate you. Salute. Good to see Cedric Mullins back. Heston Kjerstad had to go. There's just kind of no way around it. He had to go. And it's the same conversation, right? At some point this season, you'll get to a place where you'll say, just let him come back up and work it out, and who cares if he sucks. But at the moment, I think for his sake, he needed to go down, man. It's one thing when somebody struggles. As I said, if Heston Kjerstad was playing a competent right field and struggling at the plate, you could make the argument of, again, the macro is more important than the micro. Let him work through these offensive issues here. To me, the offensive issues, which were bad, weren't really the Heston Kjerstad problem, because I can accept some of that from a player transitioning. And I get that Heston Kjerstad's older than, like, it's not fair to compare him to Jackson Holiday. Heston Kjerstad's older. He's more experienced. He played high-level college baseball. We're at a place where Heston Kjerstad really isn't a prospect anymore. And that's the danger, is the thing that we keep talking about. It's the subtext to the frustration with the front office, which is the number of guys that seem to have prospect value that either aren't working out for you or you didn't deal when they had their highest prospect value, why you didn't have room for them. And Heston Kjerstad is dangerously close to being a quad A baseball player. Dangerously close. I mean, at this point, he's the guy that other teams are wondering if they can buy low on. Could we give up a bag of balls to get this former number 2 overall pick because the Orioles are just recognizing that it's not going to work for him there? And I don't think they'll do that, because I just think Mike Elias
It's too gung-ho.
Values these guys. This is my pick. I'm not just going to give up on him. But, I mean, it's really, you can't call him a prospect anymore. It's probably unfair to declare him a quad A player, but he's much closer to that than he is prospect at the moment. That's the tough part. It's the tough part. It's really hurtful for this organization to have had a number 2 overall pick that's just not worked out at all. Like, at all. And again, there's a lot of unfortunate in there, myocarditis and injury. Like, it's complicated. And you can feel for him. There can be an empathy part to this, but this is an asset. When you have these types of picks, this works because you nail them. And this one looks more and more like a complete whiff, unfortunately, at this point. There's still time. I guess that can still change. Orioles dropped the first game of the series. They've now lost 3 out of 4 overall, which kind of wipes that pleasant taste out of your mouth that you had from 6 straight wins. That thing where you really wanted to believe that this season could be turning. And that's why, like, that Sunday game, to me, was so much more damaging than it felt. Like, in that moment, the vibes part of this, like, you needed that. You needed another series win. You needed to be able to say, we're stacking. Tigers absolutely look the part, man. Like, they're as advertised. Why don't they go ahead and hit another triple while they're at it? Christ. Like, those guys hit. Both those dudes that pitched last night can pitch. They look the part. They look completely legit. So, it's sort of what it is. They'll try it again tonight, and they'll keep playing the games. But the positivity that we felt after 6 straight wins has kind of completely dissipated, and we're back to the reality of the conversation. I know today at The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal dove into the Orioles trade deadline situation. And a couple of the things that he said that kind of stood out to me. He brought up the idea of coming and going, the thing that I've talked about a lot, that maybe should be their approach at the trade deadline, and suggested it a good idea, but maybe suggested, and Ken Rosenthal is plugged in, so I don't think he's suggesting this because he's just making it up, kind of suggested that their version of that would be acquiring prospects at the deadline that they think they could then turn around and use to get major league help in the offseason. That while I've suggested you do trade away your pending free agents, but you do it at the same time as you explore the possibility of finding, perhaps even getting some bargains on guys that are struggling at the moment, a Sandy Alcantara.
Pitched well last night.
He did pitch well last night. That's true. That you do that because that's a player that has control and can help you for the years to come. And he kind of mentions that. But really did suggest that the more likely scenario would be that they would, let me try to read it.
Well, he was saying flip prospects, right? Like you're not going to get anybody that's going to help next year's team at this deadline.
If, for example, the Orioles' best offer for Eflin included 2 highly regarded prospects in A-ball, those players obviously would not be ready to help Baltimore in 2026. But if general manager Mike Elias acquired enough of those types, he would be in better position to deal from a position of strength during the winter. His argument is that instead of acquiring major league help now, you fortify with more prospects and then use those prospects in the offseason to go get your guys. And my answer would be like, okay, that sounds kind of smart, but the problem remains. You need to fortify your minor leagues. If all you're doing in acquiring these players is turning around and spinning them, then you're going to be in the exact same situation that you were before, a depleted organization, which is where you are currently. The answer has to be spending money on baseball players that don't cost you prospects. That's my problem with this. If you're going to make trades, make them now. Because that's the only way you can acquire baseball players. But in the offseason, money is how you acquire baseball players. Which doesn't mean I'm wholly opposed to making trades. Obviously, the Corbin Burns trade was a very good one. But the idea of it always being about trying to trade for players that are available at lower cost, that has to end at some point. At some point, the answer has to be our priority is spending money. If we can acquire a bunch of prospects at the deadline, we want to have those guys. If you're getting a couple of single-A pitchers for Zach Eflin, the idea is we're acquiring those guys to help us in 2 to 3 years because we don't have it. There is no pitching in the system. Didn't draft those guys. So just turning around and dealing those assets again leaves you in the exact same spot. The Orioles' plan for how they improve can't just be making stealth trades, proving how smart they are. We don't have to do it the way that other teams are doing it. We can identify players whose value is, on our Pythagorean model, this guy that's only getting paid $8 million is worth 80% of the guy that's getting paid $20 million, and that math works out. We're getting a steal. It sounds great. You're not there. You're not margins away. So when I read that, it sounds like Ken Rosenthal's being told kind of by the organization what the plan is. He does throw in one caveat, though. As he goes on, he brings up a scenario that a lot of us have kind of wondered about. And it's an awkward conversation that we're still having. As he points out, that if Mike Elias is still the general manager,
then who could it be? Maybe David Rubenstein should do a Jerry Jones.
It was weird. It was weird listening to Jake Mintz yesterday. Like, almost showing deference to Mike Elias. And it's I say this, Jake's in a weird place, right? Where he's a known Orioles fan. It's kind of how our connection started. Jake was very public as he was becoming a personality in baseball about his Orioles fandom. But as he's gone into different roles, he's also kind of supposed to be more of like a
neutral
reporter now. And so it's weird sometimes because you can hear his fandom come out, and then he's in this. And look, to a much lesser extent, I deal with this where like sometimes I'm supposed to talk about things and I'm making a neutral observation, but everybody knows that I'm from here and I grew up here and I was born an Orioles fan and I want the Orioles to win. So,
I don't know if that's obvious.
What I wouldn't give, again, just comes down on Monday. They go 1-5 this week.
They sweep
gone.
Anaheim.
It's gone. Comes down on Monday. But I say all of it to say that it was interesting listening to him and the caveat that he gave when I brought up the idea of if Mike Elias is dictating, I'm not going to hire a Skip Schumacher because he wants to have more control of things and he wants to be more involved in baseball decisions, and I'm not doing that. Then I would say to Mike Elias, thank you for your service, and move on. And the way that Jake Mintz put it was, well, I can understand wanting it to be that way, but I'm just telling you how it is. And at the moment, I have no doubt that he's correct. There's no doubt in my mind that Jake is right about how things have been and what it is that Mike Elias would want in hiring another manager. I need to know why it is that Mike Elias has earned that. Why is Mike Elias still getting these? What has he done that would make an organization say you still have carte blanche? We trust you. And again, there's a fine line because when you go there, there's this binary thought of, well, what do you want? You want ownership to meddle? No. I don't want David Rubenstein to be the one that steps in and tells the baseball operator. I want there to be the thing that he talked about, that Skip Schumacher had a great relationship with Kim Ng and it was collaborative and they worked together in Miami. Why would any organization not want that? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The Miami Marlins, who are god-awful, the lowest barrel, I guess maybe not, the Athletics would be slightly below them, but it's them. That's the comparison of worst organizations in baseball. Found a solution that led to them winning games. Everyone in baseball should be looking at that and saying, holy crap. You see what they're doing in Miami? Where they don't even care? Where they're not even trying? That's how we should be doing things. I cannot fathom how Mike Elias and this front office would still have the right to have carte blanche, you control everything. Make sure I said I said if he still did. The way that that Ken Rosenthal wrote it. In other words, at the moment, the Orioles' rotation options for 26 include Grayson Rodriguez, if he ever gets healthy, Cade Povich, Dean Kramer, Trevor Rogers, and 2 pitchers who could return from elbow surgeries in the second half, Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. In other words, Elias will be in the same spot he was last offseason, needing to add at least one top-of-the-rotation type. Assuming he is still GM, he cannot afford to miss again. It's a hell of a caveat to throw in there, right? We asked Ken Rosenthal if he would come on this morning. He's not available. And it's one of those lines where you're like, are you saying that because you have to say that? Like, assuming
like anything can happen in the offseason.
Yeah, like I'm trying to make a commitment. Yeah. Assuming Jaire Alexander is still with the Thunder next year, right? Which, like, he's definitely still going to be with the Thunder next year. But,
Luka got traded.
I guess the Thunder could move. They could fold as an organization. Right?
An asteroid could hit the Earth, yeah.
Right. Are you saying it like that, or are you saying it because you're pretty – because he didn't give a caveat to – when he said at the moment the Orioles' rotation options for 26 include Grayson Rodriguez. He did give a caveat to that if he ever gets healthy.
Right.
Cade Povich, Gene Kramer, Trevor Wright. He didn't say – like
if Povich is still here.
If they don't get traded. He went ahead and put them in for 2026. But he did say, assuming he is still GM, about Mike Elias, which smells like he's saying he's not sure. That there's perhaps a chance that Mike Elias isn't the GM. And that's a really interesting one to me. Because I guess my question would be, what would make that? Does the rest of this year matter? Like, is it if somehow this stabilizes and they play about 500 baseball the rest of the way, then we're not going to fire Mike? Like, what changes between now and then? And to me, the thing that determines that or qualifies that would be, are you willing to be more collaborative in the way that we run baseball operations? It's that simple. If a manager would like more say in baseball operations, are you willing to consider that? If we, in ownership, have some different ideas about how to acquire players, how much money to spend, those types of things, are you willing to consider that? And if the answer is no, then that's where the assuming he is still GM part becomes relevant to me. If Mike Elias is really going to prevent the Baltimore Orioles from hiring the best manager possible, because the best manager possible, and I'm not saying definitively that it has to be Skip Schumacher. He's just sort of thought of as the top guy that's available. If you can't hire that guy because he won't work for Mike Elias, you have a problem. Because there is nothing about Mike Elias that is proven that his value outweighs the value of having the best option somewhere else. And that's with respect to Mike Elias. I'm not dismissive of him. They didn't win 100 games 2 years ago and get back to the playoffs last year in spite of Mike Elias. The same thing I would say about Brandon Hyde. It's easy to dump on these guys. But what happened, happened. It does matter. But not to the point. Winning the division 1 year and getting back to the playoffs another year is not the type of thing where now you're impenetrable, unimpeachable.
So would you fire Mike Elias today?
If he said he's not willing to change the way that he does things? Today. Yes, 1,000%. Today, I would fire Mike Elias. And I get it. Like when I said this a couple weeks ago, why Brandon Hyde and not Mike Elias, the answer is because it's easier to find an interim manager than it is to find an interim general manager. That you still have to make trades at the deadline. You still have to do things that can impact the long term of the organization, so you want to have a general manager in place for that. But, that can be Sig Mejdal for a couple of months. It can be Evro, whatever you want to do. You can have an interim general manager. If
it's Sig, like, is it? I think it's gonna be any different.
But you're just telling him he's the interim general manager. Okay. You're not making him the general manager. You're saying, hey man, we need you to get us through the rest of the year. And as a professional, typically these guys don't just say, I'd rather sabotage my reputation by saying go F yourself and trading away. I'm going to trade
Gunnar and Adley.
Yeah, I'm going to trade Zach Eflin for Kyle Gibson.
For you, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like I'm not. typically those guys won't do that because that becomes part of their reputation, who they are. And maybe Sig Mejdal, because he's a rocket scientist, doesn't care, but you would think that they'd be professional enough to get you through the year. If Mike Elias isn't willing to be more collaborative, then I would move on. That has to change for this organization. If the presence of a general manager costs you the ability to hire the best manager, he can't be here. I'm trying to think of who. If he was Theo Epstein, like maybe, you know what I mean? Like if that's the track record that he had, then we could have the conversation. But like I'm not really sure how much of Theo Epstein was really about Theo Epstein versus it being about, like it's so much. I don't know how great of a general manager you have to be in baseball. I think it's important to have when you're in the tear-down process of a rebuild, having the right general manager for that kind of makes sense. You need to draft well. You need to make good trades. When you're trying to be competitive, I don't know how significant of a difference it makes versus are you capable of doing this? Here's some money to go spend. Nobody in baseball wanted Dan Duquette. Dan Duquette was in purgatory. He wasn't even in hell. He was in purgatory. He was wandering through the wilderness. Dan Duquette had his personal cell phone number available on his social media channels because he was not getting back into baseball. He was so far removed from the idea of being an active general manager that he was available for whatever consulting work that you wanted. We laughed. Baseball laughed when the Orioles hired Dan Duquette. Dan Duquette accomplished more than Mike Elias has. Tangibly.
As in winning playoff games? Like,
just that alone. And that's not me. Again, this sounds like I'm crapping on Mike Elias. I'm not. I'm saying this is the reality of the circumstance. If the Orioles are willing to spend money, if they're willing to do those types of things, I don't know that it needs to be Mike Elias. And it certainly can't be Mike Elias if he's saying, no, you will do it my way or it's hell or high water. And I don't know that that's what's going on here. This is all hypothetical. But the number of people that have now told me they don't think Skip Schumacher would take the Orioles job because of Mike Elias is alarming. Not because it has to be Skip Schumacher. Because that suggests that there might be someone else who would also not be interested in that. That you are dwindling the pool of candidates because of the power of the general manager. And that's not okay. But it is very interesting that Ken Rosenthal throws in that caveat in his column today at The Athletic, assuming he is still GM. Which suggests Ken Rosenthal's a very plugged-in person.
If anyone else says this, you're not.
Yeah, I'm not quite. I'm not
clearly nearly as much.
Like for a lot of people, it's just. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Maybe that for Ken Rosenthal to say it makes me think that there is a possibility that Mike Elias is not the GM moving forward, and it's not an unfair possibility. All right, still to come this morning, we are going to go out to Green Bay. We are going to find out a little bit more about Jaire Alexander, a legendary NFL running back. Ahman Green will be joining us in a bit. Looking forward to that. And much more as we continue along. It's a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I promise. Promise. We're gonna get there. Promise. We're gonna. I'll have a second. A reminder that you're in the final days to pick up this print issue of Pressbox. Next week, it's gone. Get this for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. The hard road back. That's the print issue of Pressbox. Go get it right now before it's gone. Makes way. We'll tell you on Friday what the new print issue of Pressbox is going to look like.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th, and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com. where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
I was just sent this. This from the NFL Players Association. They put out the year-end top 50 player sales list. So all officially licensed products sold. So it's not just jersey sales, apparel, bobbleheads, accessories, figurines, wall decals, backpacks, drinkware, and more. Who, the number one player in the NFL this year in officially licensed product sold?
Is it a Raven?
Gotta guess. You just
Lamar or Henry?
Lamar Jackson. I have the top 20. Number 18.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's been around a while now. So
I know, but he's still a bit.
I'm
very surprised by that.
We're saying
pop culture figure, smaller market, obviously that does impact them.
From 2024, or we're going from what's the time frame?
When they count the year ending, it just says year-end top 50 player sales. Hang on, I do have the dates from March 1st, 2024 to February 28th, 2024.
So essentially, the 2024 NFL calendars,
more or less. Yeah. More or less.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, obviously, was a revelation. Jaden Daniels does not crack the top 20.
What? That's impossible.
Oh, sorry. Hang on a second.
Every Washington fan in this...
That's not true. Calm down.
In the DMV.
I got it wrong. Calm down.
Cordell had his jersey before the season started.
Number 4.
Okay.
Calm
Thank
down.
you.
Calm down.
Gosh.
I misread it. He's number 4.
All right. Still, he should be. I mean, I thought. Well, all right, 4 works.
Makes sense.
Patrick Mahomes. Are we
Patrick
trying to?
Mahomes.
We're just gonna knock out the whole top 20.
Number 2.
Really? Wow.
Number 2.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, number 11.
Wow. Who the heck would be number 1?
Number
Most So it's the most.
It's everything. It's all licensed
NFL.
It's for you, that player. So
okay.
Jerseys, apparel, bobbleheads, accessories, figurines, wall decals, backpacks, drinkware, and more. Anything that's officially licensed.
This is an official guess, but I'm trying to think. Cowboys popular team, but I don't think Micah Parsons wouldn't be number one.
Okay.
And he's probably the most popular Cowboy. Is that a bad statement?
I'd agree.
What is another really? But that's why I think Travis Kelce, just because he's transcending football at the moment. Lamar's a great actor, but he's only 18, so I don't know how that works. I just don't think defensive players could rise to the number one. That's why I'm Steelers popular team, so TJ Watt, but I don't think TJ Watt would be number one. Who was the biggest?
Did you just guess something?
This is Josh Allen. Did
you just guess Zay Flowers?
No, he's valid.
It's not a good guess.
Zay Flowers could be ahead of Lamar. You never know.
Josh Allen is number 6 on the list.
Jeez.
Just guess. For God's
not
sake,
Jaden
put
Daniels,
out guesses.
Let's go with Drake May.
Drake May is definitely not in the top 20.
Zach Wilson.
Zach
Wilson. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is my number one guess.
Saquon Barkley is number 1
there we
on
go.
this list. Saquon Barkley, number 1. Patrick Mahomes, number 2. Jalen Hurts, number 3. Jaden Daniels, number 4. C.J. Stroud.
Who's the highest? Are there any defensive players in the top 20?
Aiden Hutchinson at number 7.
Wow.
And Micah Parsons was at number 9.
Gotcha. Is T.J. Watt up there?
Yes, T.J. Watt is number 16.
Okay.
So
ahead of Lamar.
Lamar Jackson.
That's
Go
wild.
figure. Go.
People are tapped out on Lamar
I also
Jackson.
don't know if this Lamar doesn't license as much stuff as
sure.
I
because he's got his own.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
well.
how that factors into all of this as well. This is
and everyone got their Lamar jerseys 3 years ago.
Undoubtedly, number 18 makes no sense whatsoever for Lamar Jackson, given his sort of pop culture popularity. So that is quite surprising where he was on that list. All right, that's from the NFLPA. So they just sent that over. I saw it. I thought it was interesting, and we went. What's that?
I said thanks, NFLPA.
Yeah, shout out. Shout out to the NFLPA. Hey, if you missed Stand the Fan, Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson talking baseball on Monday, you can find it right now, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Every Monday, Stan, Ross, and Luke get together to talk baseball. And it's all brought to you by the Costas Inn, where there is a new location now open in Timonium at the racetrack under right at the grandstand. Go find the new Costas Inn, brand new. Everything you love about the original Costas Inn, just they don't do steamed crabs at that location, but everything else on their incredible menu, find at the brand new Costas Inn in Timonium. We did not get your responses for Would You Rather Wednesday.
Thank you.
And it's imperative. The people ask.
I know.
Would you rather?
It's certainly a complaint whenever we don't.
You're going to give a 3-year deal to one of these guys, Cedric Mullins or Tomo Sagano?
I mean, I just like Cedric better.
That's it.
He's been around here for the last 8 years. I know him better, and I mean, I feel like there's more you can get back. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's going to be a team that needs a left-handed hitting and an outfield, a plus defender in the outfield. So maybe you could get a lot back for Cedric at the deadline. Is this so we can we give this extension at the end of the season? So it's one of those we trade Cedric and then we bring him back.
No, you're doing it before the deadline.
What do you think we get more for, Sagano or Cedric? I feel like pitching would net more. So that's why. I want Mullins. I think that logically makes the most sense. I also want Mullins. So, yeah. Cedric Mullins.
All right. Very good. Number 2. I'm torn on this because I do think you're supposed to say pitching. But Sagano's also 35 years old.
Yeah, exactly. That's...
And, I don't know. I mean, he's been good. He's certainly been good. I mean,
if he was 29 or 30, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
100%, right? You definitely do. I get that his game is not predicated on velocity, so it's not like him losing velocity is going to make it. He's the type of guy that could do this probably for 6 years, into his 40s, because his success is not really related to his velocity
That's Charlie Moore.
But there's also a limit to that, right? Like there's a limit to how good Sagano is a guy that
he's not gonna have a sub-3 ERA.
He's not gonna be a top of the rotation pitcher. You should be able to get another Tomo Sagano. The Mullins thing is tricky because his value is inherently based on how he plays center field, right? Like that, you cannot count on Cedric Mullins being an outstanding offensive player. You just can't. He's capable of it, but you can't count on it. We got too much of a track record that says it's all over the place. So his value is inherently based on he covers an insane amount of ground in center field and makes your team better because of that. Then comes the eternal question, is he getting to a place in his career where he won't be able to play center field? Because if he's not playing center field, then he doesn't have the same value. But in the next 3 years, I don't know. I don't know that we're in the place where he couldn't do it for 3 more years. I am really torn. That's why these are the two guys I picked. I originally said Mullins or O'Hearn, and I was like, everybody's going to say Mullins, I think. And then I was debating between O'Hearn and Sagano. I kept trying to come up with the right combination of players.
That one might be, I don't know.
I think, to your point about Mullins' popularity, the pitching side of it, I think ultimately the answer...
I know, it is crazy. Like, we're like, this team needs pitching, and then
I
everyone's
think
like, yeah, probably
Mullins. Sagano the answer, but to the point, like... Do you feel like you could get a replacement-level Tomo Sagano or a replacement-level Cedric Mullins easier? Somebody might say, well, Enrique Bradfield is your replacement-level Cedric Mullins.
Well, and the way
not a dynamic offensive player, but will cover all the ground.
And so one way I'm looking at it is Cedric Mullins is now the Jorge Mateo. Like, this is your speed. Like, assume, once we get Colton Cowser and Bradfield and Beavers, or if that's your outfield, then Mullins is your fourth outfielder. He's the guy you bring in defensively in the 7th inning. He's the guy when you need speed on the base paths, you pinch run, and he can obviously make 2 starts a week, and you don't have any stress about it. So,
all right. Number
Cedric
2.
Mullins.
Would you rather the Ravens make one more veteran addition, bringing in Jaire Alexander, who we'll find out a little bit more about here in a minute, or bringing back Zadarius Smith?
How old is Zadarius Smith?
35.
We're saying the money doesn't really matter here.
It's negligible.
He's 32. He'll be 33 at the week 1. Probably Zadarius Smith.
Okay. He did have 9 sacks last season. I didn't realize he was still that productive. He still had 9 sacks.
And that was without Aiden Hutchinson half the year. Yeah, that's.
Well, he didn't play the entire year. He got dealt from Cleveland to Detroit.
Okay, so he
year.
came in. Yeah, so
around the time that Hutchinson got hurt, right?
4 sacks with Detroit.
I'm torn on this one too because, yes, as far as the player goes, I could see where you would say there's more value in Zadarius Smith because he's actually playing, whereas Jaire Alexander doesn't. But where's the bigger need for the Ravens?
I mean,
I think it's in the secondary, and so because of that, you're more inclined to say maybe take the lottery ticket on Jaire Alexander.
So it's Owe, Van Noy. Who am I missing on at edge rush?
Tavius Robinson's in that conversation.
I think I'd rather Zadarius
obviously
Smith.
Mike Green is in the middle of that.
Yeah, you're right.
Conversation at this point.
I assume they probably feel pretty good about Mike Green.
You already gave your answer. You don't get to change it now. That's not the way that this game works.
All right, fine. I'll stack edge rushers.
You gotta live with it.
Let's do it.
That's the decision that you made. You made your choice.
I mean, I like Jaire Alexander a lot. I love Jaire Alexander, but you're probably right. He's only going to play 10 games at max. So
that's what recent history
suggests. And if Zadarius Smith, is starting, he comes in and starts to fill that Kyle Van Noy role.
And you're holding this ticket. You could win $270,000 if the Thunder and the Oilers win their respective championships. You are not allowed to hedge. It's a weird...
What?
Yeah, it's a new
league. Universe
it's a new law that was put into place.
No, go to another sports book.
You are not allowed to... There is no getting out of this. You must do one or the other.
I'll wait until the Thunder
cash out
dispose of the
today,
Pacers.
right now, for $50,000.
Oh, $50,000. Yeah, all right.
Write it to try to go for $270K.
I put $13 on this.
$13.
And I could have $50,000 right now.
Yeah. But you could also spend the rest of your life thinking about the $220,000 that you could have had.
Can I cash out in the state of Florida so taxes?
Stop it.
Yeah, I'll cash out right now, and then I'll put $50,000 on the Oilers.
You don't get to do any of that. There is no stop it. You're either getting the $50,000 and that's it, or you're writing it out to try to win $270.
I mean, I need this Thunder. They should win. And I need the Oilers to come back against Florida. All right, I'll cash out.
I think it's an easy one.
You're the cash out king.
I'm the cash out king. You're telling me I could have money that I didn't have? You're telling me that you're going to give me American dollars.
Yeah, but you could have 5 times that amount.
Don't care. I did not have this money, and now I have it.
I think the way to play it is you wait for the Thunder to win in 5.
These aren't options.
And then you cash out, and then you hedge with you bet on the Oilers just straight up or out. However you need to do it.
Yeah, you're.
No, these are options.
No, they're not.
Well, give me this guy. Let me talk to this guy. I'll tell him what to do.
This is how Would You Rather Wednesday works. You don't just get to make up your own things. Because
I'll take 2% commission.
Yeah. For God's sakes. I'm posting them right now. You can go check it out. Get your responses in. And if you try to griffin it up, then I'll send you over to Ryan Frazier to give you a verbal beatdown.
Oof.
That's the way that it'll work.
And Ryan does not.
He does not hold back. He does not hold back. So get your responses in immediately. Today's show also brought to you by County Sports Zone. All summer long, they'll be keeping you abreast of updates, maybe coaching changes, things that you need to know about high school sports heading into the fall. CountySports.zone. It's proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Ahman Green tells us more about Jaire Alexander. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at BMWChampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th, and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas Combo, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious spilling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know that.
All right, back in here on GCRs. Continue along. Get your responses in. The scenarios are posted at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter and Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio for Would You Rather Wednesday. Somebody is winning a $30 gift card to Glory Days Grill just for participating. So just do it. For God's sakes, don't try to make it more difficult than it was. Hey, check your messages on Twitter real quick because we like to cover everything that's going on in sports here on GCR, and like we've already talked, golf and tennis and basketball and hockey and baseball and NFL. I mean, we've really been all over the place today, but there's one really important championship that we just haven't had the opportunity to chat about yet, and I think it's important that we do this as a champion was crowned. We have a new champion. His name is Tristan Hargreaves. And a lot of times when there is a championship, you want to hear the call. You want to hear what it sounds like. So I think it's important that we share with the people what this particular championship call sounded like, because it, you hear that moment and it just gives you chills, right? You think about the great broadcasters of all time calling these moments. Well, I've got a championship call of Tristan Hargreaves winning his championship, and I think you should hear it.
Mm.
Is that it?
No, he's
Thank you. It's important. Mm-hmm. God. You just feel like you're there. You feel like you're witnessing history as you hear that. Oh, yeah. That is the good stuff. That, of course, is the World Turkey Calling Championship.
I call it the World Championship Gobble.
That is what Tristan Hargreaves calls his World Championship Gobble. And you know what? It sounds like a World Championship Gobble to me. I've heard some championship... You telling me that man right there isn't... He's not a world champion? Is that what you're trying to suggest?
Wait. You're trying to tell me that's a man? That's not a turkey?
That's a man named Tristan Hargreaves winning the World Turkey Calling Championship. And I personally want to say congratulations, Tristan.
I got another video here.
Oh?
It's more Tristan.
What is this, a championship gobble, though?
This is his owl. This is Al Hoot.
Can I be honest with you?
No.
This is
just wait till
it's like Charles Barkley trying to golf. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't think you're not familiar with
he's
what
a
owls.
Championship turkey caller.
Well, he's got to practice his other calls.
He's
How's
okay.
he going to be a championship owl?
Okay.
One day.
In this department. Shout out.
It's getting better.
Nah, you're really pushing it here. You're really pushing it. I know this was a rough day for us, but we're not this desperate. The sell was me lining up the championship. That was the sell of this segment. Now we're going way too far with this at this point.
I don't think we're going far.
Congratulations to the great Tristan Hargreaves on winning the Turkey Calling Championship. That is quite the accomplishment. I don't know. What do you think they do, the Turkey Calling Championships? What do you think it looks like it's in a ballroom somewhere. Or at a
Holiday Inn.
It looks like a convention center. Like you would think you would want to do that like outside, right? Like somewhere.
Maybe they must like the echo that they get from
from being in the ballroom or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed by the World Turkey Calling Championships. If I'm being truthful, I feel like I would expect a bit more from that event. I feel like it has a little bit more to go. But yes, congratulations to Tristan, the World Turkey Calling Champion. There was something also that I noticed that what?
He's letting Ahman know that we're about to talk to him after we're finished talking about the Turkey Championships.
Hey, legendary NFL running back, man that accomplished way more than we'll ever dream of. Dude, we're going to get right to you just as soon as we finish with this important turkey calling business that we're doing on the show this morning.
I just didn't want him to be confused when he hopped on.
Yeah, right? What am I listening to? Am I at the right place? Ahman Green really is reconsidering whether or not this is something he wanted to do. Joining us now here on GCR, as I mentioned, an absolute dude. This guy was on multiple Glenn Clark fantasy teams during the course of his career. An unbelievable player. He's now the host of the Bleav in Packers podcast. It's a pleasure to welcome in 4-time Pro Bowler, Mr. Ahman Green, is with us this morning here on GCR. Ahman, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's a pleasure, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Hey, no problem, Glenn. How you guys doing?
Everything is all right, man. I imagine that. So, Ahman, where are you in the world these days?
I'm in Houston, Texas right now.
Okay.
And we're getting a nice little thunderstorm dumped on us.
Oh man, well, I look, there can be worse things going on in the world, right? Like there can be worse things. Ahman, so you're from Nebraska originally, correct?
Originally, yeah. Born there, raised in California, and then came back for high school and college in Nebraska.
So you've kind of done the world tour in your life. You have kind of been a little bit everywhere. Ahman, obviously right now, a lot of interest in Baltimore because Jaire Alexander became available. And whenever a player that everybody's heard of becomes available, every fan base wants Jaire Alexander. But I poke around my league sources, and they're like, yeah, I think he ends up in Baltimore. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I should pay attention. We all know the player that Jaire Alexander has been in his career, but we also know that he hasn't really been able to be on the field much. Why is Jaire Alexander no longer a Green Bay Packer, and how much value is there in Jaire Alexander at this point in his career?
Well, the simple question to why he's not a Packer because his availability. Yeah. I'll start with that. I'll say any player's availability, as they get, regardless of their age, young, old, don't matter. If they're not available to play, in the last couple of years, like you mentioned, he only played maybe a dozen or so games in 2 seasons. So that right there says a lot to the GM, to the head coach, and I'll say particularly to the GM because obviously GM and his crew of people are the people that have to deal with the finances of the organization. Mm-hmm. So this is their season. The players' off season and coaches' off season is the GM and CFO, COO in season where they got to make their decisions on who they're going to draft, which we went through that already, free agency as well, and then obviously late trades and negotiations going on between now and training camp, which we got a little bit over a month away. So those are the reasons. That's one reason why. And then, I say, recently for him, unfortunately, in the media, social media aspect of it, obviously he's been very vocal in certain things, even though if he was staying or going, he's still creating a cloud of interest. And I say some of it is good, some of it's bad, news around circling around him. I think for any organization when they have a player of his caliber, but then it's also obviously hasn't been on the field a whole lot, and then now it's putting out information about the team or about his opinion about the team and what they've been doing. Sometimes that leads to an easy transition out of the organization. Unfortunately, right at this moment, because obviously he was a guy that was destined, that was looking like he was on his way to become, Packer Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer. He still can probably do that part. He just got to get healthy and get out there on the football field.
So when he was on the field the last couple of years, did he still resemble the Jaire Alexander that, to your point, was well on his way to being one of the great players of a generation?
Definitely. He was a guy that when he's on the field, the other team does not throw his way. And as a cornerback, when that happens, that means you're doing your job. We saw that with, you name defensive backs that are in the Hall of Fame. Deion Sanders is one particular that pops in my head right away. So knowing that he's on one side of the field, Jaire was not going to get a lot of activity. And then so defensive coordinator, if they want to get him into place in terms of making big plays or what have you, you have to move him around. You got to hide him. And that's what type of caliber player he is. And so he is a game changer. When he's healthy, when he's out there on his game, he will make sure that an offense cannot go to their number one receiver or any receiver that he's covering.
Do you feel like he's going to have a chip on his shoulder? Like, I know the ultimate question is, can he stay on the field, right? Like, it starts there. But do you feel like he's going to have a chip?
It starts with that.
Yeah, right? Do you feel like he's going to have that type of chip on his shoulder where he ends
up?
He's
always had a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, from day one as a rookie, I think, I think really, I Bleav at his position, the cornerback always has a chip on his shoulder, regardless their first round, last minute draft pick or last minute free agent trade, whatever. That position in general has a chip on their shoulder. Why? Because they're out there on the island, as they have many defensive backs have stated. They're on the island by themselves. They feel that they isolated anyway, because once they see and they get beat on a deep route, it's on them in the media, it's on them in the coaching room, getting coached up in terms of not getting beat over the top again. So they understand that since I say once you get to the college level, you figure that out, that if you're playing and starting at the cornerback position, that means you are a person that your defensive coordinator trusts you. But then also on the flip side, you got to be able to handle all the flack you're going to get at you once you're getting beat on routes and stuff like that, but don't make it a consistent thing. And that's where he's done a good job. When he did get beat, he answered it back, playing great games, tackling well, getting picks, causing fumbles, and being like I mentioned, being a game changer out there on the football field.
We're chatting with the great Ahman Green here on GCR as we're trying to figure out if it's worth the risk. And I guess that's the question that I would give. Given how good of a football player he is it worth the risk? Like, this is a Ravens team that right now you'd look at it and you'd say, hey, they're capable of winning a Super Bowl. There's one area where you would say they're a little bit thin. It is in the secondary, and that's why this kind of makes some sense. But you're running the risk that is he going to be on the field? Given what he's capable of doing, is it a risk worth taking to bring in Jaire Alexander in 2025?
I say to that Baltimore roster, yes. Why? Why I say that is because they have a roster of a lot of leaders in that locker room. I Bleav Humphrey is still there at their cornerback position. They have a young safety out of Notre Dame. He's still, he's been in another year, or in the league 2 or 3 years, 4 years, and he's definitely a consummate veteran now. And so with that leadership, along with Lamar Jackson on offense, Derrick Henry as well, I think that'll be a place to where it's going to be similar as we saw, not the caliber, just the situation where we saw back in the 90s when Dennis Rodman came over from where he was at Detroit, or wherever he was at, San Antonio, I think, and then went to the Bulls. And came in, and Michael Jordan's like, I got him. Like, I'm going to pay attention and make sure I'm on him to keep his head focused to when he comes on this basketball court that he's going to do this. There's going to be somebody in that locker room for the Ravens that's going to do that for Jaire, right? You got to make sure he understands the culture and understands how he needs to fit into this team and into the locker room.
The way that you describe it, Ahman, it sounds like he's maybe a bit more mercurial than just like the frustration with the injuries, and like that. Is there more mercurial there when it comes to Jaire Alexander?
No, it is what you see. Like he's always showed who he is.
Okay.
In interviews, so what you see in every interview, that's Jaire. If it's funny, if it's kind of cringeworthy, all of that, that's what you get. And so now I say going on a hardball roster, he's a head coach that understands those players. He's been around a lot. He's been around for years, and obviously having success as a Ravens head coach. But it goes back to his special teams roots. When he was a special team coordinator, he knew he had to tap into every position's mind to get them to come down and play special teams and be a top player, because he knows that nobody wants when you're a special teamer, when you're in that meeting, that's the first meeting of the day where you had to wake up at 5 a.m. to get there at 6 a.m. for the meetings at 6:30. Nobody wants to be there, and so he has to deal with individuals and get their minds to flip and understand we got to do a job here on special teams. We're the first team we're the first team on the field, kickoff or kickoff return. So working with that in his foundation, he's, as a head coach now, can then get players to understand, look, I know you had a rough go. I know this is your attitude. I'm not going to change you. That's the big thing. With a player like Jaire, you don't change them as a person or as a human being. No. But I need you to come here and understand this is what we do as a team, and this is how we can win together as a team. And, this is the camaraderie. This is the accountability. This is the integrity that we're going to show. We're going to let you be you. So when the microphone goes in your mouth, in your face, let's keep it 100. Let's keep it, where nothing, no big headline. Let's keep it professional as possible. But when you're on that football field, come and do what you're supposed to do. Why we're going to potentially sign you on this roster, be a game changer out there. And so he understands that, as a head coach, and hopefully Jaire can get that. And I Bleav he will, because he did that when he came in as a rookie. And just through the times with the changing of defensive coordinators, trust me, that gets frustrating when you're on a team and offensive coordinators coming in and out. It could get a little frustrating. You got to manage that as a professional. And I say it kind of bothered him a little bit. And obviously he gets frustrated because he also is hurt at the same time. And I was a good player, and when I got hurt for anything, if I was out for any amount of time, trust me, I didn't like it. Right. So that's frustrating as well. So you got to remember, he's a human being working through that as well, on top of trying to be the top DB in the NFL.
It also feels like perhaps that relationship that he has with Lamar Jackson dating back to college would be meaningful in that, right? Like that would also be significant. And hey, this is how we do things here. You're my guy. Like this is the way that I want things to be here. You would think that would be meaningful as well. It sounds like you're selling us on that. It's worth making this phone call and seeing if Jaire Alexander could come in and be a Baltimore Raven. I like the sounds of it. I like where you're at. Can I ask him? Yeah.
I was gonna throw in. Hey, I play a ton of Madden, so I'm gonna like it too. If he gets added to that roster, I'm gonna have a nice little DB that's gonna complement Humphrey on the left side. He's gonna be on the right, so I love it.
You're saying that you're regularly using, as a lot of people do, Lamar Jackson's like a cheat code, Madden. So it makes sense that's what you're regularly using. Can I get your perspective on that, Ahman? Like, just as someone who knows the game so well, like I just had this conversation yesterday with John Jansen, who you went up against over the years in the NFL. He was an offensive lineman, and it's tough here because here there's this incredible frustration year after year about the Ravens coming up short in the playoffs, and the question is, why will it be different next year? And the best thing I can say is because usually when you have a great quarterback, at some point that great quarterback breaks through. It's very, very rare that a great quarterback, and it's not, Dan Marino never won one, Jim Kelly never won one. It's not impossible, but it just feels like typically at some point they break through. Sometimes it takes time. Does it concern you at all that the Ravens have this track record of failure in the playoffs and that just might be the story of the Ravens, or do you feel like it's inevitable? Lamar's too good, Derrick Henry's too good, like this group is too good to not finally break through at some point?
I say in my opinion, in my gut, until he's off the field and retires, that's when it's over for me. Okay, so I feel Lamar, and when they got Derrick Henry last year, I'm like, oh my God, this is a problem, because what I know about defenders in the NFL, even though it's a new generation of defenders that guys I haven't faced, but I know how they've been coached fundamentally, having to deal with a dual threat of run and pass between the two in terms of just Lamar and Derrick. Mm-hmm. But then when you have the wide receivers, you have the tight end, Andrews, and you have the offensive line that can protect them too, and then you got a defense that's trying to get better, right, by adding Jaire and doing things like, from draft picks to free agents that they might have picked up in the offseason. That team has been consistent. And like I said, I love the Harbaugh family tree of coaching, so Harbaugh doing a great job in there, keeping the guys, I say, at a competitive level to do, and we've seen it with Tomlin, we've seen it with his brother, we've seen it with other coaches. It's hard to keep that, that consistency of good playoff victory. So the good thing is, look, perennially they've been into the playoffs. Yes, there's a false start at the end, but yeah, it takes time sometimes for certain teams and certain players. It's a team sport, really. I mean, Lamar, I Bleav what I see every time I see him in the playoffs since day one, since his rookie year and second year, is that I can see he's carrying a lot of that on him. Mm-hmm. And I think every year he's gotten a little bit better and not where he feels that is on him. And I saw it last year. It was a lot off of him where he played a lot better. So, but he still has one more step where he could have basically a whole season and even a postseason of looking. I'm going to play. Mm-hmm. And everybody else got to do their job. And I could sense it in him by the way he sometimes answers his question, frustration, stuff like that sets in. And eventually he's going to come to a point to understand, look, I'm the quarterback. The guys, everybody else got to come and help me out. Not that saying they're not doing their job now, but I can't feel, mentally that I'm carrying the weight. Because when a player, I don't care what sport you're in, I played a lot of sports growing up, football, baseball, basketball, I ran track. When you feel like you're carrying the whole load on your back in terms of it doesn't matter, for your team to win, that's a lot of pressure. So hopefully he learns that every year that it's not just him by himself. It's the whole 22 or say 22 guys on offense, on defense total, and the special teamers out there doing their job, and along with the coaching staff, because they're right there. They're on the brink. And like I said, like I said at the beginning of this question, I'm going to always have it for the Ravens to go far until Lamar. And now I'll say Derrick Henry is done playing for this team.
It's interesting what you say, right? Because we saw in the playoff game in Buffalo this year, where we know Lamar is we have seen bad snaps turn into touchdowns because that's how superhuman Lamar Jackson is. Mm-hmm. He can make, but on that particular day, trying to make more out of a play that wasn't there led to a turnover. And I just wonder if that's the next step in the process, is just realizing, like, I don't have to be superhuman. Yes, I can be, but sometimes it's discretion's the better part of valor, right? Like, it's just not there on this one. Pack it in.
That's it.
I can go be superhuman on the next play. Like, that's
right. And sorry.
No, you're good.
And to your point, I know you're saying what you're saying. It's like, one, he's human. He's not superhuman.
Right.
He makes extraordinary plays. I've never, and I say that's why me as a football player, I looked at myself more as Batman, right? Because Batman knew his role. Like, among the Justice League, he knew he was human.
Okay.
He didn't do nothing spectacular, but bring him. He showed up when he needed to show up.
That's interesting.
And that's all Lamar needs to do. He just needs to show up and be Lamar. He's not superhuman. He's human. But he can do extraordinary things when he has the football in his hand, and he has his teammates behind him doing their jobs too. So that's where he needs to that he understands that part. So that's where we sometimes, where you talking, you can't put that out there. He can't say super in front of him. He is just a human being out there trying to make things happen, and he's done extraordinary things since his rookie year. So that part right there, where we kind of misguide our fans and listeners, saying they're superhuman out there. Yeah, we put on that pedestal.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're human beings, man, at the end of the day.
No, you're 100% right, but I still feel like he's slightly different than most other human beings, right?
Like, No, you're right. We all.
Yeah.
Everybody that's in the NFL, that's the starting, that's the starting 32 players of quarterbacks and running backs around the league. Yes, those guys starting around the NFL are the 1%ers are doing the best and are the best at that position at that time. Those times when they're on the field. You are correct.
I know you're a running back who played past the age of 30. We don't see that quite as much these days. Are you as amazed by what Derrick Henry – like, Derrick Henry just got another contract from the Baltimore Ravens, and none of us that watched him last year are like, oh, you can't do that. Like, he's – how impressed are you by how different he is and how he's been able to sustain – being literally the exact same type of player this deep into his career?
I'm not impressed because I've seen his workout, his off-season conditioning.
Fair.
So if you see the work behind the closed doors, you follow him, and I do. I follow a lot of running backs, and when I was playing, watching guys when they were young, watching Adrian Peterson and finding out what his off-season training regimen was or was at that time, and now finding out what Derrick Henry does in his off-season training and seeing it. They can do this. Social media wasn't around quite as much as when I was playing. So now they could share that with us. So I've seen his off-season conditioning, and so I'm not surprised. It's for me, watching the defensive players trying to tackle him, that seems surprised. And they're like, wait a minute, what do y'all think he's going to do? You think he's going to just shut it, and put it on cruise control right now when he's still putting on a football helmet? No, he's not. That means he's getting ready for you guys just as well as y'all should be getting ready for him when he comes downhill and cranking out 21 miles per hour. So you better be ready for him because he's bringing it, and he's going to make sure he's ready to go day one come training camp in 2025.
I'm sure you had a great diet, but the guy just eats bowls of kale. Like, just walks around the building with plain bowls of kale. Like, that's what he's eating. Yep. Everybody else on the team is like, I can't do it. I just don't have the discipline. I got to ask you, I know it was only a little bit of time, but your former teammate now in the AFC North, Aaron Rodgers, I am convinced that there is a ceiling at this point for as great as Aaron Rodgers has been in his career, that he's no longer the guy that can elevate a roster that isn't otherwise truly Super Bowl. I think it's the Steelers. They're going to be in the playoffs. It's what they do. It's Mike Tomlin. Like, they're going to have a winning record. We know that. It probably wouldn't even matter if it was Aaron Rodgers or if it was Kenny Pickett. They would have that. But am I being too dismissive of what the Steelers are capable of doing with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback?
No. I would say it's you with everything that's gone on, transpired in the last 2 to 3 years with Aaron. There's a lot for a player to kind of ruffle through and get past. So he's going to have to really, I say, come in a low profile, as lowest profile he could come in as, right, to training camp and getting prepared for the next season for him. The good thing is he has a coaching staff that understands teamwork, similar to Harbaugh staff. Tomlin understands how to push players, how to have that honest Tomlin. So I Bleav he's going to be walking, when I say he, Aaron is walking into a situation with a good coaching staff and with a great head coach and Mike Tomlin to understand where he's at in terms of what he can do for the team and the team showing up to what they could do for him. Because this is going to be it's not just all Aaron, and I think everybody knows this. I know if I'm a current Steeler and I'm 25 years old, I'm the running back. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that you have it easy here, because that means I'm gonna run the ball as best as I possibly can. And that's the same thing I did with Brett. I was 24 years old. He was in his 10th or 11th year, and everybody's like, he's gonna hang it up soon. And I'm like, look, if I'm getting the ball, I think he could last a couple more years, and we're gonna help him out with that. And that's what happened. So hopefully it could be that type of situation where the team shows up offensively, offensive linemen, defensive line, or offensive linemen, tight ends, receivers, and the running backs they have there, which they do. You got Warren back there to name one. Unfortunately, I love Najee Harris. He's gone now. He's out with the Chargers. But they have people there. And so hopefully that team rallies behind him, because that's what it is. That's what football is. We hear commentators, and I'm pretty sure you guys say it here on your show. It's the ultimate team sport. You got to have everybody, on deck playing at 100% or the best they can to their ability to go out there and win games. And that's what they're going to need for the Steelers coming in this season, having Aaron as starting at quarterback.
Obviously, the Bleav in Packers podcast is where we can find you, but you referenced you're a gamer. I know you're pretty heavy in gaming. Is there anything that we can plug for you that way?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm on Twitch, Ahman Green TV, and I have a podcast I'm doing this afternoon if I get my internet back up. Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge. I'll be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I talk about topics in the gaming world, from new video game releases and trending topics around the industry. And you can follow me on all socials, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Hit the tab, follow YouTube as well as Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge on YouTube. So subscribe there for me, please. And I play everything from Madden to Tekken to Star Wars Outlaws right now, and a little bit of Doom Dark Ages right now. I love that game. It takes me back to my childhood playing Doom for the first time. So
that's so cool.
So yeah, I'm in the gaming space big time, being a head coach and a director of esports teams for the last 5 years.
Dude, how cool. If we had gone back and told 12-year-old Ahman Green the next 30-plus years of your life are going to be football and video games, what would you have said then, man?
I would have been like, oh, okay, that's what I want. That's what I've been planning for. Right? So, okay.
That's so cool, man. Ahman, you guys played so many games in the national TV windows. I legitimately a huge fan. And really awesome catching up with you. This is really cool. Would love to do this again. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Ahman Green with us here on GCR. I had never had Ahman Green on a show of mine before, and legitimately spent a lot of time watching him play football. As I said over the years, the Packers were, I know everybody would say, the Cowboys were the quote-unquote America's team, and they were shoved down your throat, so it was either, if you weren't a Cowboys fan, you just kind of hated the Cowboys. The Packers were the antithesis to that. The Packers were regularly in big, high-profile games, and while, yes, years later, we found out Brett Favre, not a good guy, at the time, he was America's sweetheart. He was in There's Something About Mary. He was a pop culture figure that everybody kind of liked. His story was great. You were all in. His dad died. He had the game. Right. Everything about Brett Favre, it's part of what they cover in the Untold documentary, was he was larger-than-life pop culture figure, and it made you inclined to like the Packers. Also, Antonio Freeman was there, Baltimore's own. You were inclined to like the Packers. And then, again, until Aaron Rodgers became kind of a weirdo. I don't want to compare Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre's a bad human being. Brett Favre is a vile kind of human being. Aaron Rodgers is a weirdo. Is a weirdo. That's what he is. So I don't want to compare the two of them. I don't make it seem like I'm lumping the two of them in together. But until then, it was the same thing. He was very much America's sweetheart, right? We were ready for him to be the host of Jeopardy. He was the guy that was playing at 4:25 after your team played, and he was a revelation to watch play football, right? He could do a little bit of everything. He had moxie. So you'd spend your 4:25 window on Sundays watching Aaron Rodgers play football, and you were inclined to like him. Just watched a lot of the Packers over the years because of those two guys, and Ahman Green I watched a lot of. And that was cool. That was cool. I'd never caught up with Ahman Green before, so I enjoyed that. Must be a nice life, right?
Intern Jake pointed out he dug into his Wikipedia, and apparently he was an extra in Batman vs. Superman, too.
The clip never made the final cut.
Oh, it got cut.
That's a bummer.
That's why he was like, oh, he mentioned
when he
Batman.
mentioned Batman.
That's cool.
Like,
yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, imagine that life, right? Like you play football at an extraordinarily high level. He's a 4-time All-Pro. He's a great player. And then what's the next stage of your life? Video games.
He's apparently in 2023 he
That's
was
tough.
a professor. He was a journalism professor at Nebraska.
Heck of a life, man.
I know.
Appreciate Ahman Green taking the time for us this morning. And he really is. He's selling you on Jaire Alexander, right? Like,
I mean,
to me, the mercurial part of it, or like the way that he tweets, is way less. Like, I don't really care about that part of it at all.
yeah, like Marlon Humphrey tweets all that. I mean, I haven't read Jaire's tweets, but
it's the is he going to be on the field?
well, and then the thing, because what I remember from last year is they suspended him for a game, like an in-house suspension,
Right.
because he made himself a captain when they played the Panthers, because he's from Charlotte, right?
Yes.
And he was like, I wanted to be captain
Yes.
for my home game.
Yes, he went out like, and that's goofy. Don't get me wrong. That's goofy. I do remember talking about that, but like, to suspend, like you're suspending him over that, like that part, just. I remember like having a weird feeling about that. God, I had forgotten all about that. Like, that was such a weird thing. Like, what a strange whole story that is. Like, how does that happen?
He's blocked by the Chicago Bears on Twitter.
It was week 16.
Oh, it was that late in the year? Wow.
Yes. It was week 16. And he just went out for the coin toss. And he was suspended for conduct detrimental to the team.
I mean, I guess
it was it was 2023 apparently. It wasn't.
Oh,
last
it was
year.
2 years ago.
It was 2
Okay,
years ago.
okay.
I do remember this, and I remember like my response being right. But imagine going to the players on your team and being like, "Yeah, we're going to suspend one of our good players," and they're like, "What?" Like
he's healthy.
Yeah, like that's the part that like I understand why you can't do that. Like I understand you can't just freewheelingly like go out. Be like, I'm one of the captains. And they're like, no. But also, how does that happen? How does somebody not like? Anyway, moral being. But is the answer suspending him? Like, I don't want to make too much out of this. We're talking too much about it. I've said all along, I'm interested at a number. And if the number kind of goes crazy, first of all, the Ravens at the moment, I know Brian McFarland tweeted something about it the other day because of all the conversation about Jaire Alexander. God, that's a weird name to say fast when you're trying to do an interview. Is Jaire, like you feel like you just have to say it in one syllable, Jaire, right? Like where it's Jaire, it's very clearly two syllables.
J.A.
Maybe J.A. is a better way of doing it. But hang on a second. For those asking about Jaire Alexander, this is from Brian McFarland, our guy from Russell Street Report. The Ravens presently have $18 million in cap space, but after taking their future expenses into account, they have around $5 million in effective or usable cap space for signings. They do have extension and restructure options that will create additional cap space. So,
okay, so how much they have available?
They have $5 million that he says. Now, some of this is there's
coded
language
signing
here.
bonus, and
they could spend some of the $18 million that they have, and then create more afterwards. They need about $13 million for what he calls future expenses, and those numbers are maybe numbers that are going to kick in at some point during the season. So that the $13 million you have to take out of the conversation, but not today.
Okay.
So they could use that $18 million they have. They would just have to create more money in order to get that space back. And his point is, well, they've got the room to do that. The number one thing that you would throw out there is
quarterback
Lamar Jackson.
Mm.
The question being, how close are they? I think Eric DeCosta was on Mike Bordick's show. This feels like a mad lib of a sentence.
No,
Eric DeCosta was on Mike Bordick's show talking about it and said they've had some conversations with Lamar Jackson about it. We remember how conversations with Lamar Jackson went the last time we were in this place. I don't know how long it would take, and you got to get that number has to come down before the 2026 season. You want to do it now, it has to be done before 2026. So ideally, you get it done now. So they might have, if they feel like they can get it done with Lamar Jackson, then it could be a different conversation as far as the money that would have available to spend on Jaire Alexander, which still, to me, there's got to be a limit on how much you're spending on someone that just hasn't been on the football field. But I am intrigued. I am certainly intrigued in that possibility. All right. We are winding down. Continue to get your responses in for Would You Rather Wednesday. I know I posted them late, and so we've had kind of a slow go of it, but get your responses in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. Someone is winning a $30 gift card to Glory Days Grill. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. Sports and Social is the best place to watch the finals, including Game 3 tonight. 100-foot media wall, great food, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. Always tremendous events coming up inside Live Casino and Hotel. What you got?
I got an NBA one for you, but before that, So, oh shoot, I'm logged
nothing
into,
like preparation. Nothing like being.
No,
ready
I was
to
prepared.
Go.
I was
No,
logged into. I was tweeting
were,
from your account, so I was logged into your account, and I'm trying to get to my bookmarks.
If you were prepared, we would be doing tidbit right now. As I set up.
And I opened up your bookmarks, and I was like, oh god, this is wrong.
Again, what you're saying is,
it's like, yeah, to each their own. But
what you're saying is, it could be an explanation. It ain't an excuse.
No, it's an
No,
it's an explanation. Yes.
No. It's what
I'm not saying it's an excuse.
You failed.
No, I didn't fail.
No, you did.
In the last 40 years, there have been 25 instances when a golfer has plus 275 odds or shorter to win a major before the major.
Most of them were Tiger Woods.
All of them, yes.
Yeah.
So this is the first time Scotty, I guess it depends where you see him at, but I bet MGM he is plus 275. The 24 prior instances were all Tiger Woods, being that close to a favorite. For
even after he wasn't winning majors anymore, he was still like, even after, what was that, 2007, where he had the dip, like for the next 5 years, he was still that type of odds to win every major championship.
If you're trying to make some money, I know Drew doesn't bet anymore, and
right.
But if you're not like Drew and you do bet on sports, the Pirates might be a good bet today. The Pirates, while they're awful at baseball, they are 9-1 on Wednesdays this season. Straight up,
how about
Pittsburgh
that?
Pirates. They are 18-39 every other day. Other day of the year.
How do you possibly explain that?
You can't. I don't think. By the way, don't bet on the Pirates.
Do they have a catcher that only catches?
Actually, they're playing
on
the Marlins
Wednesdays?
today, so maybe.
That's so random, man.
They're the first game of the day. They're about to start in 20 minutes, actually. Cal Quantrill for Miami versus Bailey Falter of Pittsburgh.
What would lead
to better during the day, maybe? I don't know.
That's so weird.
Because it's always a getaway day, typically.
There's no logical way. We have to talk to Jake about his body language. We've got to talk about being involved and being. Jake does a lot of. This is the stuff that I used to yell at you about.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
You've got to be more. You're on a camera. People are looking at you.
I'm just
You've got to look
unknowledgeable about baseball.
It doesn't mean even if you
could not contribute.
It doesn't matter if you can contribute or something or not, Jake. That's not the point. The point is,
Jake, why do you think the Pirates are better on Wednesdays?
You're on a You're on a camera.
Because Livy comes on Wednesdays.
Is that what it is? That might explain something. You're on a camera. People see you. You've got to be more engaged. Just acknowledge. Tap your head. Oh, that's interesting, right? How about that? You
Wednesdays.
just have to look engaged. The problem is, at one point today, it looked like you were asleep. Legitimately, I looked over and you were like,
I might have been thinking really
this isn't great. This is not a great. People see you. They see you on that camera.
Hi, people.
And then they're like, well, it's not interesting enough to keep the person who's literally sitting at the table engaged. It probably isn't interesting enough for me. So I don't even need you to care. You could walk out of here and be like, "God, that was boring as sin," and that's fine.
Which I never said.
I'll live with that if that's the way that it goes. I'm certainly beyond the place where I care about these things, but I just need you to pretend. I need you to pretend like you're super interested in everything that's happening because you've got a camera looking right at you, and all they're seeing is
All right, I'm locked in.
All right. Good. John in Little Rock is pissed. He says, "Are we not going to talk about the abomination?" This is aside from Tidbit. This just came in.
No?
Are we not going to talk about the abomination that is the U.S. men's national team?
Well, Drew and I actually talked about it before the show. Sorry,
I'm not sure we have been at this low since maybe the Sampson era.
It is objectively
Sure
hilarious. All we ever do is fire coaches, and that's or want to fire more coaches, and they just keep hiring another coach, and then we just want to fire that guy too. If you missed it last night, the U.S. gave up 4 first-half goals against Switzerland. 4. And lost 4-0 in their final tune-up for the Gold Cup. Now, again, this is not the A roster of the national team.
And they're automatically in the World Cup, right? Because
they are. They don't have to qualify
These
for the
games,
World Cup.
We're trying to rope it up everybody.
It's not.
We don't want to put anything out on film.
It's not great, dog.
We don't want to put anything out on film.
It's just not great. And
I got the alerts. I was like, oh, 3-0, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, the other way. Correct.
What?
Look, man, I don't know enough about Mauricio Pochettino to be able to say what he's doing differently than what Greg Berhalter did. Than what the answer at some point. The problem is deeper than just continuously firing coaches or managers, whatever you want to call them in soccer. At some point, there's a deeper problem than that. And we've discussed those deeper problems, and we've discussed part of it comes back to me as I just don't have any expectations. I have no expectations for U.S. soccer. I can't believe we're going to say this. The Greg Berhalter era might be looked back on as the salad days. It's just that bad.
I think we should have let Brandon Aronson in for more than 45 minutes.
Well, and I know Drew's on this game. The worst thing for the U.S. is that they don't have to go through qualifying because qualifying is
you got to freaking try.
Yes, for prolonged periods of time, and you have to grow as a team for prolonged periods of time. To not have to go through qualifying, that all it is you can be dismissive of these one-off competitions and nobody cares about the Gold Cup. That actually badly hurts the U.S. program in trying to regain relevance after the disaster that was failing to qualify. There are real issues. There are real issues here. So that's all I got. That's all I
Go
got
USA.
Yep. What do you have?
And then earlier, since I talked about SGAs dropping 72 in the first 2 games, we got me thinking about the highest scorers all time in the NBA Finals. There are there's 7 players that have averaged at least 30 points per game in the NBA Finals, and that was. But I made the minimum just 5 games. So, but they're still not you should still be able to get them all.
So if somebody was involved in a sweep, that they wouldn't be on this list.
Correct. Yeah.
So
you want to make it 4 games and see what?
Yeah,
I
because I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if it'll change it, but because I did 10 games first, there were 4 players with a minimum of 10 games. So I ended up. It does not change. 7 players to average 30 points have played at least in at least one NBA Finals.
So this is wait.
30 point.
So it's not for any particular one NBA Finals series. This is
they could have played
career of playing in NBA Finals games. How many points per game you score?
They could have played 5 games. They could have played 1 billion games.
That's a horse of a different color. Jerry West.
Jerry West has played 55 NBA Finals games, and he averaged 30.5 points in all of them.
What's the lowest number? What's the cutoff here?
30 per game.
30.
Yes. So, yes, Jerry West on the list.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan on the list. Averaged 33 points, 33.5 points per game across 35 NBA Finals appearances, 35 game appearances.
I don't think it's Kobe. I think Kobe Bryant had, some of the load fell on Shaq.
Kobe only averaged 25 points per game, 37 NBA Finals games. Maybe that'll be my tidbit tomorrow, most NBA Finals.
And that's Kevin Durant's an interesting one too, right? Because he's a 2-time Finals MVP, but yet on those Warriors teams, he had a lot of help. I'm torn on this one. Durant.
Kevin Durant has averaged over 30 points per game in 15 NBA Finals games, 30.3 to be exact.
The other thing I was thinking about is is it possible that somebody who never won a Finals, right? Like Karl Malone. Those were lower scoring games back then.
Not Karl Malone.
All right. But it's possible that somebody that never won a Finals could be on this list.
Correct. In fact, someone is.
Oh, someone who never won a Finals that's on this list. don't think it's James Harden.
No.
All right, let me think about this. Nikola Jokic.
Jokic is on the list,
Okay.
yes. And the Nuggets win in 23, 30.2 points per game for Jokic.
Dirk.
Not Dirk.
Dwayne Wade.
Not Dwayne Wade.
Shaq.
Not Shaq. Shaq averaged 28.8 points per game in 30 finals.
It feels like these guys need to be a bit more modern because of the way that scoring has changed. But then again, Wilt Chamberlain.
We got two, not Wilt Chamberlain. We got two modern guys, one active, one non-active, and then one guy we got to go pretty far back for.
One active, one not active that are modern. Who else is active? Kyrie.
Not Kyrie.
Giannis.
Giannis is on the list.
Okay.
Averaged 35.2 points per game
over
Glenn's Suns in the
those finals
the 2021 finals.
Thanks for the reminder, jackass.
Giannis is the one that did the damage.
Nobody else that's active.
Don't shoot the nobody else active. The only active guys were KD, Jokic, and Giannis.
Someone else who's modern, and then somebody else who's from
for 60s, 70s.
60s and 70s. Lord. It's always Elgin Baylor.
That is not, he didn't. Yeah, not Elgin Baylor. He averaged, he is up there, but 26 points per game in 44 finals games for Elgin Baylor.
It's not.
You're actually missing 1 and 2 on this list.
Missing 1 and 2 on
the list. You got 3 through 7.
Okay. That's weird. Oh, my God, man. How about...
One of them played just in 5 games, right at my cutoff. The other played in 10 games.
That doesn't really help.
Yeah, the older one's a little tough.
Thank you for nothing.
The older one, he was a Golden State Warrior. He was actually 2 years on the San Francisco Warriors.
Rick Barry.
Yep, Rick Barry. Most points per game. At my minimal cutoff here, 36.3 points per game in 10 NBA Finals games.
And then that means the other one's the modern one.
Who did not win.
Did not win.
Mentioned him on Tidbit earlier in the week.
AI.
Yep, Allen Iverson, 35.6 games.
There's 5
in
games.
just 5, and then just
they won game 1 and they lost the other 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. All right. Let's get tubular.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Orioles-Tigers, Game 2 of the 3-game set. Zach Eflin on the mound against Casey Mize. 6:35 on Masson 2. ABC for Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Thunder-Pacers, 8:30. Masson's got Nationals-Mets at 7:10, or as apparently a drunk man wrote on our website, Nationals. I don't know what happened there. MLB Network.
I said we take that guy's.
Right?
Take his password away.
Got a lot of questions about that guy. You know what I blame? The cracked screen on my laptop. You know anyone who's in the business of fixing cracked screens?
I'll take a look at the crack. See how badly we're talking.
Please reach out to GlennClarkRadio@gmail.com because I know what they're going to charge me.
You won't be able to read the email, so.
Well, I've got a phone. I know what they're going to charge me at the old Apple store, and it ain't going to be pretty. And then I'm going to have to go through that serious, is it worth? Because they want you to just buy a new computer, so they charge you an extraordinary amount of money for it. And, I like this machine. It's a good machine. Yeah, it's yesterday. Okay. It's bad. Bad. Well, I mean, I think I saw it. It's possible. It's possible it happened before that, but my mother of God, it is not good. All right, what was I saying? Oh, yes, MLB Network, Cubs-Phillies 105, Dodgers-Padres 410, Yankees-Royals 740, CBS Sports Network for Aces-Sparks 10 o'clock, TBS for AEW Dynamite tonight at 8. Non-sports.
Today's Wednesday. Oh, Snow White is streaming on Disney Plus. If anybody missed it, so you don't have to go to theaters anymore for that.
A lot of controversy about that, but not a lot of positive reviews.
Netflix has their Titan disaster documentary out this week.
This
now.
is about the.
Yeah, about
was there another one?
Yeah, there was one on Nat Geo like a couple weeks back. So this one's.
multiple.
I mean, it's Netflix, so it might be a little bit more dramatized, maybe a little bit better put together, but yeah, the ocean, they call it Ocean Gate disaster, or because that's what
correct.
Ocean Gate.
That was the name of the thing.
I thought it was also like they were making Ocean Gate, like Spygate.
No, that was the name of the company. Yeah.
What else we got? Oh, season 7, Real Housewives of Miami.
I still think it's too soon. For there to be that and also it's. I don't know. Anyway, it's so weird because the response to it from a lot of people was like, "Oh, these rich people deserve it," right? And then you're like, "Yeah, but they died." And there was a kid.
Yeah.
I've never really been comfortable with any of this.
Well, Netflix will. I'm sure they'll address it appropriately.
Sure.
New episode of MasterChef. Conan O'Brien and Jenny Slate on Seth Meyers.
Promoting MasterChef. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yep, they're very excited. They're very excited about it. Yep.
Michelle Monaghan and Gerard Butler on Fallon.
It Monahan?
Is it Monahan? Sure.
Isn't it?
I mean, sure, we'll go Monahan. I don't know. You're the Michelle Monaghan.
She was great on the last season of White Lotus. She was outstanding.
Believe that's what they are because other White Lotus people are on this week. Apparently there's new cut scenes or something. I guess.
Wait, really?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if that's something they should be doing. That seems dumb.
Well, I guess they're looking for people to come on the late night. So.
Right. Well, they're obviously promoting Fantastic Four.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gerard Butler and Michelle Monaghan.
Yes, they're obviously that's.
Den of Thieves 2 is coming out, so that would be Gerard Butler, I believe.
He's promoting Fantastic Four.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, good for them. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Amy Lou Wood, and Lil Wayne on.
Wow,
Kimmel.
they really are putting all the.
I know, that's what I mean. I was like,
well, they're obviously plugging the new Naked Gun.
Oh,
that's
okay.
That's what they're plugging.
Lil Wayne's got a new album that apparently was not. That people didn't.
You know, it's really funny you say that because I saw all that reaction too, and then
I didn't listen yet.
Some people in my life that are rappers are like, this might be his best work.
Really?
So I have not listened. I'm a big Lil Wayne fan, and I have not had a chance to listen to it yet. But you're right. When it dropped on Friday, is that right?
Yes.
And when it dropped, all I saw was Twitter being like, maybe they made the right choice not having him do the halftime show, right? And I was like, that's sad. I love Lil Wayne. And then,
but then people that actually know what they're doing
had a different response. I also always wonder about because didn't Lil Wayne get pardoned by Trump and take pictures with him, and so I feel like there are some people that are just inclined to not like Lil Wayne ever again because of that. And so I never know how to respond to these things, right? I never know whether someone's critique is genuine or it's just. I don't like this person anymore, so I'm going to say negative things about their music. I just don't know. Whatever. I'll listen at some point because I do love Lil Wayne.
Fubar Season 2 is coming out, so that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger is.
I don't remember.
Maybe
I remember saying it looked like it was fun and something that I would want to watch.
But it looks very.
Because I remember watching. Wasn't there a Schwarzenegger doc that came out at the same time?
Yeah.
And I did watch that. But I don't think I watched Fubar, but yet I think I remember saying, that actually looks like it'd be fun.
So he's in a family of CIA agents, I think, and he's retired, but then he comes out of retirement, and it's just a whole action thing, classic Arnold Schwarzenegger, except he's, old now, so.
All right.
I think that's everything. Coleman Domingo and Gary Oldman on Stephen Colbert.
They're plugging Jurassic Park.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
Plugging Jurassic Park.
Maybe I'll tune in for that one.
That's the Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks also to Ahman Green. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Galveston
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow, we actually doing anything tomorrow?
We will talk to Michael Kelly from
Navy Athletic Director.
Navy.
Sure.
I think we want to go out to Bowie tomorrow.
Okay.
We want to.
Right.
We definitely want to.
All right.
And fighting words too.
You or someone you know.
Maybe intern Jake and I will fight for fighting words.
Maybe if you or someone you know what you guys didn't talk about last week in fighting words is Sean O'Malley giving up fapping ahead of the fight.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I don't think I heard.
Didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Well, that's didn't make a difference.
Well, clearly what happened was he gave up smoking weed and his lungs got weaker.
That's
why
what it was.
That's why he tapped out.
That was his issue. Really?
We call that lung day.
Might want to go back to weed and fapping, bro. Might be the path that you want to take. All right. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, BMW Championship, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, The Costa Sin, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Thanks to Alex, if he's awake, at AlexWilson_. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. We might go back to me not saying go Birds sometime soon, but sure. Duke sucks.